6 o'clock. This is the regular meeting of the Rutland Town Select Board. Today is April 8th. I had to look it up. 2025. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have a full select board tonight. Sharon Russell, Matt Getty, Mary Ashcroft, Joe Denardo, and Kurt Hathaway. We have the select board minutes for March 25th. They were in your packet. Is there any motion?
Move to accept.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve. Any additions, deletions, corrections? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 5-0. So we can do it. Okay. You've all seen the orders. Is there a motion to approve the orders?
Move to approve.
Motion's made to approve
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor of approving the orders, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Any board member announcements?
To administer their own elections. Vermont's Democratic Secretary.
Thank you. Okay, update from the Select Board Chair. Two quick things. The Select Board meetup for members of Select Boards in Rutland County is tomorrow over at Castleton. I think you all should have gotten, I did sign up. If somebody else wants to go in my place, that's fine. But anyway, you do need to sign up online. It's free. The pizza's good. And the discussion was really good. Secondly, green up bags are in and at the transfer station. And scope out your section of Town Road and lay claim to it because there's a lot of ugly stuff out there that needs picking up. I got Creek Road. Thank you. All right. Takes care of the update. Are there any questions from the floor or public comments?
Yes.
Hey, come on up and tell us your name and
Come up.
yes, so people up on the screen can see too.
Okay. Cool.
As in up here.
Right up
You
here.
okay with that?
Sure. I don't have a choice because this is the format that I have to come to in order to get things done, I guess.
Okay.
I don't. I've had a couple of panic attacks already about this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. When you're ready, or if you want to address us from out there, is that okay? If you want to take a minute, that's okay too. No, don't worry about it.
Upstairs are written.
Okay. So we're going to,
No, I'm totally just want to Band-Aid this and rip it off.
We're all friendly and none of us.
yeah,
Come on
we are
in and
pretty
sit
much,
down.
yeah.
My
One piece of candy?
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, that's nice. No, but thank you. I'm glad you have candy and that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable.
Good.
They said green up bags are in, so maybe that's just the answer to all of this. Hi, my name is Stephanie. I'm sorry, I don't live in the town. Unfortunately, I didn't know the difference between Rutland Town and Rutland City until I moved from up north to down here. So I've only lived in the city for 2 years, and in the past, before I had a traumatic brain injury, I found purpose in the community by volunteering for things like 5Ks, blood drives. I've raised a bit of money for Adaptive Sports Partners of the North Country up the New Hampshire wing, but since that's what I used to do, since the brain injury, you see how it is. It wasn't always like this. So now I find purpose by picking up trash. I met one of my neighbors recently. He's in his 90s. He's a nice guy. And he told me, I asked him about nice spots to go to with my dogs. And he said that there's a spot by the river, but that people used to come up from Massachusetts. There used to be a line of cars for ice skating and swimming out there. And so I went and to go out there and he said it might be full of trash now. And I went out there and it was. And so I started picking up, I've picked up a few spots in this, I know it's not the town, but in the city, I've done by the Crying Kid mural. When I first moved out here, I read articles about that, and I thought all of these comments and everything, all these articles, that much time and energy could be spent picking everything up. It could be done by now. So I went down, and in a day I was able to get it. I mean, it was a big haul. There was TVs and syringes and all sorts of stuff. I've
Oh my
also gone down
gosh.
to the Clarendon Gorge Bridge, and I've hiked everything up. I've hiked up tents, trash bags, mattresses, single-handedly. And I've dumped everything. I also, by myself, I have a bit of guilt of my income. I'm financially stable because of my PTSD related to my service in the Marine Corps. So that's why I'm able to do all of this stuff. And I also walk around with my dogs with a backpack, and I just pick up like little pieces of trash everywhere. But this spot that my neighbor used to go to, it turns out it's owned by the town. I initially reached out to the city. I know that there is a very small triangle of the area that is owned by the city, and then a very much larger part is owned by the town. It's 12 acres.
Is it at the end of Park Street?
Yes,
I know just where it will. I think my husband and I sold that to the town quite a few years back, so I know,
Oh,
know
really?
where you are. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, then you know the land. Then oh yes. So I've been working with, because I was told that there was some less than savory people down there, and so I reached out to the police department about that, and I reached out to the cities, the Parks and Rec, because part of the trash is on the city, and so I'm here to offer myself to bridge the gaps in communication, even though I'm not the best communicator. I have great intentions, so
You're doing good.
to help facilitate any kind of, I'm offering my time and energy to pick everything up. So far, I've taken out 2 truckloads full from that area. It cost me, because they're weighing my truck at the transfer station, it cost me $13 if the minimum isn't met, and then it's a little bit more after that. I spoke with the gentleman that works in this office. I'm sorry for not remembering.
I think
his
it's
name.
Bill down in the
Yes,
corner.
right. Oh God.
We're all good.
Yeah, so he let me know that what was I gonna say about you? Oh, that's right. He let me know that y'all have been down there last year, spent about $450 filling up things with the dump truck with a whole loader and everything. I have a backup plan if y'all vote and say no to start a committee to raise money, because that is a beautiful spot that I think that we should do something about. I did try to post on Facebook asking for help. Not even anybody pay for it. This was just to have somebody help, because there's sofas, mattresses, carpets, sleeping bags, tents, not ones that are being lived in either. And there was a recent flooding that swept a lot of it out to the river. Sorry for taking up so
No,
many
no.
of your minutes. And so I just really, I found people that care about it, but they're not on Facebook. I ended up having to take that down. People were very nasty online. And so I have some friends up north that are part of their town hall meetings, and they're like, Stephanie, just go. Those are all people that care about the town. It's okay. It's not the same as Facebook. So maybe that's why I had about to panic attacks, because there's nobody on Facebook offering me 3 Musketeers. But that's everything.
Well, I work with veterans almost every day.
Oh, thank you. Gosh,
So-
thank you so much.
Well,
I'm so
thank you for
sorry
your
the trouble
service.
that you have to go through with the VA, because
I know.
we really, really, really appreciate your help.
Well, thank you.
Whatever it is that you do, we
Well,
appreciate
I
it.
help them get their benefits, and I
Oh,
fight with the VA sometimes.
it is a fight.
Well, it shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't be, but it's one that I'm very grateful to know that there's somebody at the table that understands things.
Well, there's a
that
lot of
I'm
us
fighting
out
for.
there that do, we started the first homeless shelter for veterans in this state.
Oh,
so-
really?
Yep.
Do you know that, as far as I know, that's the only one that's available in the
Yep.
state? Isn't
Yep.
that wild?
Yep. Yep.
So thank you for coming in and for pointing out this issue. Right there is Dave Sears, who is our road commissioner, and he's been down there as well,
I've
keeping.
seen you.
Yeah.
Okay,
He was there with him.
okay.
Oh, you were in fluorescent, that's why.
He likes to be recognized.
So it sounds like maybe we should be talking a little bit with the city. Some of the land is ours, but the roadway, I think, belongs to the city. Isn't that what when we went looking?
We spent some time looking at the land maps, and
Yeah,
I
good.
was pointing out to him where exactly it is and where the lines are, and I can confirm it is town property. It is,
Okay.
it is not the city.
Okay, interesting. All right. So they're dumping on our old fields? Oh. Huh, okay.
And I live pretty much on Forest Street. I'm willing to monitor that place. I'm not sure. I was even thinking about getting cameras and putting them out there. Maybe that would deter people from being out there. I mean, I'm full of solutions. So if y'all care about the space, I would really, really like to be a part of coming up with solutions to make it close to what it was, maybe.
Thank you. So one thing, you shouldn't be paying to dump trash at our transfer station. Is that where you've been taking it up to Northwood or up to Gleason Road?
No, I've been taking it to Gleason Road.
Okay, let's fix it so that when you're picking up trash on town land and you take it to Northwood, you don't have to pay for it. You shouldn't have to do that.
I'll talk to Dell. 'cause
Okay.
that's my committee.
That'd be fine.
I'll talk to Larry Del Veneri.
I talked to all the transfer station people. They said, we don't dump stuff for free.
Well, no, this is,
I went in there, I
see
pulled up
again,
shopping carts.
city town, we're different. Gleason Road is where you dump stuff for the city. Northwood is where you dump the town stuff.
Will you please educate me on where it is?
Sure, it's off Post Road. You know where Rutland Town School is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's on Post Road. So
Oh.
you go up the hill and around the sweeping corner
To the left.
to the left, yes. And then there is a park there that says Northwood Park. There's a swimming pool.
Great place to walk your dog.
It's a great, yeah,
Great
it's a
place to
wonderful
walk your
place. And Mike Rowe kind of keeps an eye on that. He's our rec director. And in there is our transfer station, which is open Saturdays from 9 to 1. 7 to 1, yeah.
7 to
Well,
1.
I don't haul up there until 9 usually. but Don't go by me. And Wednesdays from, is it 3 in the afternoon to 7?
2 to 6.
2 to 6. Okay, they did change the hours there. So, and Sharon's going to talk with
Call Larry.
the transfer station person. So we can make sure that you can dump the trash that you collect on town property up
You
there.
might want to take your
without
dogs
charge.
up there on leashes and just go. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
park
Yeah, I
to
haven't
walk.
brought them down to the spot yet. I think it's interesting. Y'all know exactly where I was talking about. I didn't even tell you.
We've had problems there before,
Yeah.
and that is not the only place in town. So we really appreciate what you're doing. If you could give Bill your contact information, so we'll make sure that Sharon, once she's in touch with the Larry at the transfer station, knows that you're okay to pick up and dump. And then we'd like to hear other ideas you might have, and Green Up Day is coming. So will you stay in touch with us?
Yes, absolutely. And I really think that there's potential. I mean, it's 12 acres. I think it's potential for that area to be like, if it's monitored enough,
Mhm.
a lot of people are scared to go down there. Even my chiropractor, he said he's been in this community for decades. And he
Mhm.
said, yeah, even 10 years ago, we were just got kind of scared to go down there alone. So yeah, I really believe that place, I really thank you.
It's lovely.
It
Yeah.
really is. And you should see my neighbor's face light up when he talks about being a boy out there. So
Oh,
thank you
good.
so much for taking the time to listen.
Thank
to me
you.
and my anxiety in the beginning
And,
of this.
and
Thank
check
you
in
so
with
much.
Bill.
Yeah.
And
Can I
stay
have
in
your
touch.
name so I can give it to Larry?
Yes, of course.
I'm Sharon, by the way.
Hi, it's a pleasure. Nice,
Nice
to meet you,
you.
Stephanie.
We had a conversation about gating or something down there. Was that not feasible or?
It was,
I couldn't do it. I
There was a
hate
cable
needles.
at one point.
yeah.
It was
City
all the
town line,
rage at
but
one point.
that's gone
I know.
now.
That's I must Well, have disappeared. the line is all the way
Yeah,
down.
Make sure my handwriting is legible, because that's
Oh,
a
it's-
two, and my
no,
twos don't
no,
always
it's
look
good.
like twos.
It's good.
Okay.
I will let Larry know.
Thank you,
I'm
and
gonna
thank you
call him
again
when
for
I get
working
out
with
of here.
veterans.
Remember
We're
that
just
entire road is
very
in the city?
underserved in
The
the
roads
state.
to the
especially.
city.
All the way till you
Any
get to
help.
that lower meadow where by.
It's the open door mission.
The land to the
I'm
north
only
is what
there.
Harold and I sold.
I'm
Was it on
retired
the
from there
right-hand
after
side
40
you're
years,
going
but
down?
I'm still
So
there.
there's a chunk of that.
Can't
But
retire.
my daughter's running it and her name
Yeah,
is Tammy.
yes.
If you need anything, any help,
What?
Rick Gallo works
Might have
with us.
been.
I don't know if you
Okay,
know
yeah,
Rick.
I know,
It was
yeah,
on
yeah, I
He's a
know.
good guy.
Yeah, yeah, everybody loves Ricky.
Road.
Depending
He's a
on
good
which day
fella.
it would be
Yeah,
possible,
Thank you,
which
thank you so much.
You guys could meet
Alrighty.
her there sometime or do something.
Rowe.
Okay, thank you. And we're talking about that now, trying to figure out
Well,
what part. So let me ask one more question. As you go down the old road, which we're pretty sure belongs to the city, there's land
The city,
on the
most of
right-hand
road
side.
is owned by the city.
Yeah.
There's a small triangle after the solar panels. Right along, there's a wire fence, and that triangle is owned by the city. And then about it's a little bit further back. There's a couple of private triangles that are owned by somebody named Joseph Anthony Russo, and there's a PO box that's only listed. I can't.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
yeah, so I'm not sure who that is.
Okay.
But the city, that is part of the city. And if there are people that are camping out there, I'm working with the city to report every single time that I see them so that the city can go out there and say you're trespassing, because it is oftentimes like homeless people that are encamped
Yeah.
right there. They're throwing their stuff onto the town.
Yeah.
So it goes, it's like city. And then up here is private, but right here is all town.
Yes,
And
I
it's.
know that land.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's helpful. Thank you. And stay in touch, please.
Absolutely.
And thank you again.
Mary, do
Okay,
you want her phone number? Because she gave it to me.
we'll get it because Bill should have it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions from the floor or public comments? If not, we'll start in on our agenda. Mike Rowe, Town Rec Director.
Evening all, how are you?
Hi, Mike.
Well, so I spent a good part of my weekend up at the park getting baseball fields ready. So we're ready to go. Obviously, the snow was interesting. I think our grass up there has weathered very well. So the work we've done on it, we're in the process of getting our sprayer up and running and hope to spray in the next week. Huge thank you to Dave and the boys for helping me getting stuff going. Busy time of the year for all of us, but that's going well. Cover will come off the pool in 2 weeks, which means I start pumping it out and then we start cleaning it. So it is moving quickly. Our baseball season will start the first part of May. First week of May or second week of May, our baseball games will start. They've already started practicing. They decided not to practice today, which is probably a good thing. The field over at Dewey has weathered well for our when we did our replacement last fall, but I'm keeping them off it until it gets a chance to really grow. So that's going well there. And then our senior luncheons was a big success last time. Thanks to Sharon for being the lady cooking the meatballs, and Mary helped out, and we had lots of food. Our next one will be on the 29th. I've already cleared it with the chief. We're going to do it at the new fire station in the bays. Pull the trucks out, and then Ed or some of the guys will give a little tour to our seniors to see where their tax money went. I think it's a win-win. Again, I have a special lady we're doing chicken mashed potatoes and something else there. So if you want to come up, please feel free. We'll be eating in the bay and then getting a little bit of a tour. And then we just finalized our other senior, which will be in May on the 22nd, I believe. Which is a Thursday, and that's our little border war when we're meeting with the West Side seniors at the town hall. We have two bands playing. The jazz band from Rutland Town and the jazz band from West Rutland will be playing at the town hall, and we'll be serving pizza for that meal. So if you can make it out to those, that should be pretty entertaining. Otherwise, it started. Snow obviously looks a little different today, but what do you call it? What do you call it? Poor man's fertilizer? Is that what the old adage is? So.
I was telling Dave, you could put a snowplow on your lawnmower so you can go mow your lawn.
So everything's going well. If anybody has any questions for me, just let me know. But
Thank you for all the organizing. Great.
problem.
And thanks to Sharon for the great food. Yay.
yes, it was really good. Yeah. Meatballs were a hit, right, Bill? What'd you have? Dozen, half dozen,
Oh, yeah.
3/4 of a dozen? Bill came in and, swept it all in. No, unless you guys have anything for me.
Any questions from the select board? Okay,
Perfect.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Dave Sears, Town Road Commissioner.
Here.
You're actually going to put us to work, aren't you?
Probably will.
Yep.
Generally do.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
All right, the last couple of weeks, we replaced 6 mailbox posts, a couple of mailboxes themselves. Took the crew to Burlington, did a dig safe seminar.
Good.
A half-day ordeal. I rented a lift and we changed our light bulbs in our shop. Went to LED bulbs, got rid of the dimness. Is it better? Oh, it's way better. Might need sunglasses from time to time. Like Mike said, we set up his sprayer, so he's ready to go with that whenever spraying is done or ready to go. The last payment for the winter contractors is in the orders. That's the last payment for this season, unless we get another call out, then we'll have to do something there, but the regular payment is done in this pay period.
Did we stay within budget?
We're within budget. Yeah, we went good 47 calls total.
But we're within.
Green Up Day, Mary mentioned, there's poster here, there's posters up there. My name is on the posters as contact, phone numbers on there for the shop. If anybody leaves bags, just call us up and let us know where they are, so we're not shagging bags in July. Just someplace in general, we'll go out and do a patrol that Monday anyway, but, something kind of off the beaten path we might not see, and want to get that stuff picked up as soon as possible. We opened paving and sewer bids, which are there in front of you. I tripped over some math for some of the stuff, but we got it figured out. So, we'll start with the paving because that's the big one. You can see, so the upper section is all the, street paving, our budgeted street paving, which is the, David, Nancy, Susan Drive, Columbus, that whole neighborhood. I don't have enough money, obviously, to do the whole neighborhood, so it's gonna be kind of a 2 and a something year, or a year and a something project. It's gonna take us 2 seasons to finish it all up. But you can see that for the entire bid package, is the pricing at the far right. And Wilk was the low bidder by just over $10,000. So I'd like to recommend to the board, Wilk. Oh, well, I'll continue on. The East Pittsford Road is Class 2 paving. If we get that, grant from the state, Wilk was low bidder on that also. And Center Rutland Fire, they were, $1,200 more than Pike, but in for a penny, in for a pound. So I'd like to recommend to the board that Wilk Paving be granted or awarded the paving bid for FY 26.
Highway Committee, what say you?
Move to go with Dave's, recommendation.
Second?
Second for discussion.
All right. So question first about the Center Rutland Fire Station. Isn't that part of our contract? But this is not our cost, is it? Oh, sorry, Center Rutland Fire Station. I was thinking, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Readjusting. All right.
Yep.
And this is for, do we need to do any digging over there?
There's some work they were
There's
gonna
some
do.
work to do there. Yeah, we have to put in a catch basin and run some pipe.
Yep.
Okay,
And that's gonna be done prior
And
to.
we'll do that in-house.
And then
Prior
they
to
were
the paving.
determining where some stuff had to go for the fire district, but I believe that's gonna be outside of the,
I think you mentioned that
Paper, yeah.
last, yeah.
Chris
okay.
had been checking into that.
Okay,
Mm.
all right, so discussion. Motion's made and seconded.
So the only other part, which I don't know if you got back with Wilk and Fuller on reclaim for East Pittsburgh Road or not.
I didn't, I talked to Wilk about it a little, I talked to Tim about it a little bit. We hadn't really gotten very far.
Yeah.
I hate to get too far ahead of it if we don't.
Yeah, if we
The grant is
don't
what
get the
really-
grant. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just curious how much of a difference it was gonna be, but
Yeah, I don't know that number, but, I believe I put in 100, like 130 for the grant.
yeah.
So, we'll have it
Okay.
covered. And if not, it'll be close enough that I mean, we're in for 20% anyway. So.
Yeah. So the discussion was when the bid went out was before this spring happened. And the last section of East Pittsburgh Road we did as a mill and
Mhm.
mill and fill is what they call. And this spring it came back, all the cracks came right back to it because it was soft enough, in this spring all the cracks reflected up from the old base. So I really wanted to push for this next section to be a total reclaim,
Okay.
which we grind into the base, which is what we did on the lower section of East Pittsburgh Road, which is pretty much in the same condition as that's 10 years old, and that's in the same condition as the piece we just did 2 years ago. So it's up through that area, there's just no base in the, under the road. So by reclaiming, you're mixing that asphalt back into the road base to build your base up.
So that would cost more, I
It will
would guess.
cost, yeah,
It could
it
be
will cost more.
Yeah,
But- And we just
But
didn't,
this number is for mill and fill, so it will cost more, but it won't be that whole number. It'll be
yeah,
something more.
There's already a figure for work. It's just,
Yeah.
this will be different work, so.
because a reclaim you need to grade and compact, where mill you just mill off and lay asphalt on top, so. But
so do we not do that section of road and keep it out of this package and do it differently? Do
well,
we?
so we
The
don't
grant's
really,
already been applied for
Yes,
that section of
right.
road.
But
If
we
we
don't
don't
know-
get the grant, we
Okay.
won't do anything.
we don't know if
Okay,
we have the
okay, I
grant
see
yet or
what you're
not.
saying. All right.
But I just wanted to make that,
Yeah. We talked
That
about
point.
this, on Friday, we talked about this at length and leaving that option open to do it, to do the
Okay.
mill. If we get the grant, our cost will be more, but it won't be the entire difference because we've already put some money in for work to be done. This is just a little, the only downside, and we all know the only downside to the reclaim is that it raises the road. And then there's always some fallout from that
Oh,
with
yeah.
driveways. So if we can get on top of that portion, it's okay to go that way. It's a good way to go for certain, and like I said, that's a sandy area,
Yeah.
we all know that.
Mhm.
So,
yeah, it's a high traffic road that's just
Yeah.
been pounded.
and this could help. So
So that part of the
we would,
work is conditional upon receiving the grant.
Right,
The rest of it
and-
is,
and we would just be-
that's clear in the,
Very much
to
so.
the contractors that we're not gonna do it unless we get the state funding. Okay,
It's actually stated. that
Good.
way.
that's
Okay.
what, yeah.
all right. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of awarding the bid to Wilk Paving for the 3 projects, one of them conditional, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye, unanimous 5-0. Okay, thank you.
The other one we did,
Part 2,
the bid that we put out was for, sewer / culvert cleaning and inspection. We sent it out to 2 people, A1 Sewer and Drain and BP Wastewater. BP Wastewater is out of Burlington, South Burlington, and they're the ones that have been helping us out on the south end piece down there. So for our regular maintenance and stuff, obviously A1 Sewer and Drain was a $2,800 bid per 8-hour day and $1,800 per day for sewer inspection with a camera. And BP Wastewater was $3,800 for an 8-hour day and they included travel in that number, so it's $3,800 a day. Plus $3,300 a day for an 8-hour day for camera work. They've got a couple high-tech, high-speed, low-drag cameras that they can put down inside a catch basin on a pole, and they can take a video down the pipe and kind of expand it as they go. It's kind of neat. I don't know that we'll ever use it, but it's kind of neat. So that'd be the only thing we'd really use that for. So A1 has shown a large degree of reluctance to go into the south end sewer in the past. And that's how I ended up with BP wastewater. They're more or less fearless. They're like, they're scared of going, like everything we do, we're scared of. It's just it is what it is. So I would like to award to both of them so that I have options with mostly that south end sewer, because A1 basically has refused to go in there again. So I need,
When you say, but I mean, would it be divided between A1 does everything but South End and?
virtually, yes. Yeah.
Pretty much Dave knows what A1 will and won't do, and we're keeping BP as a specialty contractor to do the stuff that they won't.
And be a good idea to stay on the good side of them.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I was very impressed with BP when they showed up.
Yeah, they're in it to
Equipment
win
they
it
have.
for sure. They
Yeah.
don't play.
Yeah, they don't quit.
No.
You know,
So what's
when they
the
chain the
total-
hose to the front of the truck and start backing up to rip it out of the
Yeah.
pipe, you know, they're brave.
Or
What's
not.
the total amount that we're gonna be?
$7,000 tip that they were trying to retake.
Yeah.
I would too. What's the total budgeted for this sewer cleaning?
So some of this comes out of the water shore stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the BP stuff will all come out of the
Right.
sewer
The,
fund.
culvert cleaning is out of the highway
That's
budget.
out of highway.
okay.
And Dave worked last summer with A1, right?
A1.
They did
We had them
most of your
coupled up
culverts.
different times.
So, motion? Did we just do that?
I don't know if we actually need a motion because he's been using these two guys and this is it. But we're not bidding off of a contract, so there's no
Okay,
finite amount. It's as needed,
okay.
pretty much. So
Right.
these are, I think this is just for Dave's ability to,
Well, basically, so this $3,800 number was over our last threshold. And we've
Right,
changed the
the old
threshold since I
threshold,
sent
yes.
this back, since I sent this
Gotcha.
out before that threshold was changed. So that's how we ended up here.
and these are your people. And this, I think what this is, this gives us an idea that every time Dave has to call BP to come down and work a day at the south end, this is what it's costing us.
Okay, yeah.
Which, and for the folks that were complaining about us not having a culvert maintenance program, which we are working into, and I don't know, you've got kind of a total, how many culverts there are in town, and there's a ton of them,
743, I believe,
right? And you did what?
740 something.
You did 70 last year, right?
Correct.
They did 10% last year, and I forgot what it was, and we kind of used up the whole culvert budget. A lot of it last year, so this is where we are. They don't all need cleaning, but there's a lot of them out there,
Okay.
so.
So it sounds like we don't need a motion. It is within your budget. And as long as you pick and choose who will do what within the budget, we're good.
Right.
All right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna have them come from South Burlington to clean a culvert.
No.
That's ridiculous.
No.
And they're probably not gonna want to do it.
And
anyway.
I think the price reflects that, don't you?
They seem like very busy people.
I really do. I think that they are not as interested in just going and cleaning culverts when they have this. Yeah, that's what.
Okay.
And then the last little thing I have on my list is committee meeting that we had last.
We
Do
also.
you have the minutes?
I don't know if the rest of you have a copy of this, Mary. This is a sheet Dave worked up. We looked at that and that's just for materials that the town has.
Oh,
And
this is, okay.
so we just came up with something. I thought that was okay. We were not into competing with anybody
I
and
did because this is sort of the follow-up to using there were other things up there
Well, the town has always had a long-standing policy when they're digging ditches and material comes out of the ditches, letting town residents take that for fill. And I do believe at one point, we did have kind of a policy written, and we also had a list of people that would be that would be on that to take that. This here, would cover that, plus the, millings that are coming off when Dave has the roads milled, the pavement. And we're not out to compete with anybody. This is just a kind of a courtesy to the town's folks. And there's a limit on how many loads. And there's also, that, once you get it, that what happened, because we did have an incident, if you remember, up on, Meadow Lake Drive, where we brought some material to one neighbor and the water went, when they put it in, it flooded the other people's land, and they wanted the town to be responsible for that. And they said, nah, that don't work
The
that way.
only thing I would add to that is any spreading is up to the landowner and not the town, because we don't want you up there spreading and
Okay,
leveling.
I can add that in.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
Okay, but, we went.
They didn't
through-
come up and spread mine.
They didn't?
No,
And we're basically
no, but
just,
they were, but I did give them cookies and
Well,
brownies.
okay
and-
then.
We work for food.
Noted.
Do that.
but otherwise you'll.
I don't
Yeah,
think I gave you
Yeah,
meatballs.
that looks good.
That's legal tender.
That's
Food is legal tender.
Did you want us to adopt that as a policy so it's clear that, or do you want to toggle it and then bring it back so that we can add
Maybe
it
you
to
want-
our policy book?
Yeah, that'd probably be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
good.
So, if you read the minutes, the state wants us to remove a welcome sign on Route 7 South, and we're not sure why, so
What?
we might be dragging our feet on that for a while.
Our sign.
Our sign that says welcome to Rutland Town. They want it moved another 30 feet off where
Right in
it.
front of Alderman's use.
The
Yeah,
well,
I
yeah.
thought that was nice of Alderman's to let us do that.
Well, I guess it's.
It was nice of Alderman to let us use the state land.
Yeah.
And supposedly it's in the state land,
Oops.
so we'll work on that.
Well, okay, it's gonna probably take a while, maybe.
Why do they care though?
The downside, one of the things we're working on
It's
is,
not like they're plowing up there or anything.
well, the thing is if they're worried about it interfering or being a hazard, there's some other things they gotta run over before they're gonna get to the sign.
Well, tell you what,
Yeah.
if we'll move it if the state will reduce the speed limit down there at, like we asked them.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go again.
Drawn in the sand.
You betcha.
The traffic study we had does not support our request for the second left turn lane coming out of the Greenbelt Plaza.
Oh,
So I'm not sure how we're gonna proceed forward with this, because there is some cost to the state to move the traffic lights and add some stuff there, so. I don't know what the next step is, whether we should have Robert Clark send them a letter and ask them how they came up with this, because that's not what we were hoping for. If you go down there at certain times, a second left turn lane would be very beneficial to folks leaving the plaza. So I'm not sure when,
it does stack there.
yeah, there's, and whatever, so.
It's the same people analyzing traffic studies that say, turning Rutland City into 2 lanes of traffic is going to do great things,
Yeah,
and putting roundabouts in.
I can deal with the roundabouts, because I've traveled those, maybe not in the city in certain places or
I
others,
like
but
roundabouts.
roundabouts do work good. The problem is the education process to the motoring public is lacking. If you
I mean,
don't
don't use
understand.
those
Nicest way
lanes
you could
to
have said that.
drive
Nice, that's-
Political way up.
past people.
Because people just don't understand when the arrow says you gotta go here to go there, you don't want to be in the right lane. You want to be on the inside lane. Anyway, so I don't know where we're gonna go with that, but,
Okay.
did that, the manhole cleaning, the paving, post road sidewalk.
Oh, yes.
So,
I was gonna ask about this. I'm glad you guys.
so
did.
we talked about it for quite a while. Not sure where we're going to go with this. The fix is going to be more, I believe the fix is going to be more than what we're going to get back. And I don't know if we were to, it's not ADA compliant for a short section up there because of the pitch of we could make it narrower. So Dave what he's gonna do is they're gonna go up there and kind of take some measurements and see that if we take a foot off between post road and the sidewalk and make it 4 feet wide, if that'll make it leveler, because you're not, that little curl where it goes up, maybe it'll be all right. My initial thing, what I said in the beginning, is walk away from it. Because if we put $20,000 or $30,000 more into this to fix the problem and we get 48 back, I don't know if we're getting anywhere, but that's where we
And we're
are.
at the max right now. I mean, with what we've got in, what we're gonna get back, we're at the max.
As our
No matter what we do
contribution,
there,
our
we're not
match.
gonna get any more than we're gonna get.
Right. And Robert was gonna look at that, but we've kind of pulled Robert off from that to focus and all of his attention on a south end sewer solution. So, I don't know where we want to go with that.
I
And
would like to eventually have that, the sidewalk in and up Chisana to link. I mean, that's,
right,
longer
and we discussed that, some too, that, we don't know if a grant if we end up putting a sidewalk on Chisana, if a grant there would be, conditional on the part leading up to it being ADA compliant.
and that is a problem.
You know, we don't know what the grant
It
thing,
might be cheaper for us to do it ourselves.
yeah, to make that portion off of Post Road up Chisana ADA compliant is going to be difficult
Mhm.
because I don't think we can make the slope. I believe that's the
Yeah.
The
concern.
only way to make it is to hammer ledge.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did it, but they were going to, Otter Creek was going to go up there and do some borings and see how from the asphalt down to where the ledge is. And if we take that out, can we
Yeah.
lessen that hump a little bit? The ledge comes right out of the grass on the other side of the street, so I don't foresee an easy solution
Well,
there.
Byron's
Or it would have
thing
been
way
done
back
before.
when was he just line stripe a sidewalk. And we might just have to go to that. Wouldn't cost very much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be like a 2 foot fog line or something.
Yeah,
Just keep traffic
Yeah.
over a little bit.
And
We'll have to see.
there might be some other things in the works that might help us. And that might be more beneficial because the majority of this sidewalk project was for the school kids to be able to go to Northwood.
Mhm.
So another
Exactly,
solution to that
yes.
could present itself, and then the sidewalk along Chisana wouldn't be a necessity. If we had a different solution, so there's might be some,
it's still, I mean, we
Yeah.
still needed the sidewalk along Post Road anyway.
the post road portion, right? And I don't know why. It's to me, it's so minute off from being level that I just don't understand this.
Well, that's why I suggested a waiver, request for a waiver and
Yeah.
appeal de minimis.
So maybe
because I
we'll,
just don't think
we'll,
it's,
see if we can get a hold of, Robert was, he designed it and whatever, and we, because the big thing is if you put a foot of green between Post Road and the sidewalk, it's never gonna be green. Cause the way the traffic is up there for the school.
well,
everybody's
and
gonna-
what we
I'm
did
thinking they're
up there
parking on the sidewalk now.
They are now.
is a safety
They were the day
feature.
after.
If they're thinking the grass would be a safety feature, we've already solved the safety problem up there by having the additional lane so people could turn safely and pick up their
Right.
kids.
But
So
now
it's
when
competing safety issues.
when they're lining up there,
I've already got my argument for this.
they're already parking on the sidewalk.
Right.
So if you had a foot of grass there, they're just gonna
Yeah,
park on,
That's
I said, well, we'll just put down AstroTurf and it'll be green, but it'll be tough. So anyway, so we just got, I don't know what the thing is, and I don't know where our deadline is to be in compliance.
December.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
all right. Then we talked about the new truck for the highway. It's a $285,000 vehicle, fully done, dressed and ready to work. Viking, is BR. They're the builders.
They're the builders, yeah.
So
It's-
they're gonna be
ATG
the,
is actually the
But
company.
the dealership, and so what's it, I can't remember.
ATG.
ATG is willing to give us $50,000 trade-in for our Kenworth. which we paid 60 for. So, we did put some money into it, so they may be getting the truck better than we got, but either way, so Kurt and I would like to recommend that, we have Dave move ahead with this. They're talking a 14-month build time. That there is a truck on the lot that is theoretically ours. So once we give them the go ahead, we'll have the cab and chassis. Viking, which puts all the plow stuff and does all the work, are the only ones doing it. And they are booked like solid. So once we get, the sooner we can get a slot to get our truck there, the better off we are.
It's all covered in depreciation.
And this will be covered by the depreciation.
How much is in there?
That number I do not
Three
have.
something,
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
340 maybe, sounds familiar, something like that.
Something like that.
Something
yeah.
like that, and then.
I looked at it.
We just got another.
So do we-
asset on it.
Trade in the Kenworth now or hang on to it and use it until the other truck is delivered?
Oh, they're talking
14 months.
15 or so months, maybe if
So
we're
we have-
lucky, if we have a good day. So we're gonna need it for next
One more.
winter.
Another year,
And they're
okay.
aware of that.
Okay, but that's a solid $50,000. They're not gonna,
No, That's, as
And the other thing is,
long as we leave all the fenders on it. and-
it's got, yeah, it's got to
Don't
come
roll it
back
over
and-
the bank or.
Relatively, yeah,
Yeah.
we can't have Rolls bring it down on our. It's gotta be
Pieces
done.
falling off.
The other portion of this is they will 7-year turnaround on a new truck. And they'll guarantee us a trade-in value on the new truck.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really
So
good
this is a biggie. Have we gone out to bid?
All state.
It's just,
Is
yeah,
it-
it's through that same
It's
state.
the state
state
bid process.
process, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It would fit into that. The other thing I
Is-
would mention, and we need to talk to the folks selling us the truck, is the warranty on the truck. So once we purchase it, I don't believe we want to register it. Because I believe the warranty starts when you register the vehicle. So if they're gonna be tied up for 15 months, we don't want to lose a year and a quarter.
Right.
So, but that'll be up to you to discuss with them how that works. But I'm pretty sure the manufacturer warranty, because we'll be looking at another Western Star. Same as the original one we bought.
Maybe ask them about extended warranty program too.
Yeah.
I don't know if. What
Be
they
nice to
got.
have it for the 7 years.
Yeah, yeah, if we could keep it under warranty for the 7 years until they take it back.
Yeah.
It might be worth the money up front.
Right.
You know, I don't know what they have for programs, but it's worth an
Yeah.
ask. We
So,
got 15
Are
months
we
to
at a
figure
point
it
for
out,
a
so.
motion?
I believe,
All right.
yes. I made a motion that we authorize the road commissioner to work with ATG on the replacement for the town's Kenworth plowing truck.
Second,
Okay, as discussed here, a Viking for 285,000 with a trade-in of 50,000 for the Kenworth, 15 months for delivery. Okay?
And we might get it sooner, but they're giving you worst case scenario.
Well, I'm glad they are.
Yeah.
Any parts
It's
being
kind of the
made
same
in
with that
Canada?
goes through with the police cars.
Yeah, I know. Any parts being made in Canada?
Oh, God.
Probably most of it. I would say a lot of the plow stuff is.
Okay, well,
That's-
sooner we got it locked in, I guess.
Mhm.
All right, so motions made, Joey, Kurt seconded. Discussion, any further? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
I
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Money to come from depreciation fund.
yeah, and we'll have to see whatever contract that is, I guess. Once they whatever contract they dream up, we're gonna have to sign it. So
Probably, yeah, purchase.
contract.
Yeah, it's probably, well, we'll want to see it, so. Yeah. Okay,
So we've discussed this around, a bit about the town, purchasing an excavator.
Hmm.
Did you get any updated pricing or?
I
not? When
didn't,
you-
he was, so like Kurt said, he didn't have anything with rubber. So he was gonna check into, putting the pads on the steel tracks.
Street pads, yep.
And he hadn't got back to me today, so.
So we're looking at purchasing an excavator for the town rather than keep renting one. The plan would be to, purchase it out of the new equipment line item in the highway budget, which will not cover the cost of it, but to cover the cost with funds that are available in the highway department's carryover funds. I think there's about 258,
That was like 280.
280, somewhere in that neighborhood. We would not want to use all of those funds because winters like this year could bite you. So,
Mhm.
but we do have this accumulated monies. And after talking with Andrew in the past about how we could spend that, we're okay to do that by assigning that money to the new equipment line. We're talking probably 125 for it. There will be a need for a trailer to move it, so Dave's trying to work, and this is purchased through what, purchasing agreement?
So buy better.
Yes.
It's called, it's like a national, what's the word?
It's like the state bid, only it's a national
National.
bidding process. So we would be in compliance with our purchasing policy to use that style of buying equipment where we're working with a dealership that has, the prices that are been put out to bid nationally versus.
Well, we don't,
Just
yeah,
as
we
an
don't have a
example.
number, so, I don't
Right.
think we're ready to vote on
No, we're
this
not ready,
today.
but I just wanted you guys to know where we are and what we're talking. As soon as G Stone, we looked at, and we've talked with a couple of local dealerships, and we ran into some issues with, John Deere. And the maintenance on those dealer work, it's Williston or Springfield, which is kind of,
Springfield, Vermont or
Yeah.
Mass?
Vermont. So it's a lot of trucking every time we have to move a machine. Middlebury's a little closer.
Yeah,
Yep.
How much are we spending now annually on renting excavators?
Less than that.
$4,000 a month.
rentals, we've budgeted 15,000.
And we'll spend all of that on there. I understand where you're going. The thing is if we have our own machine, there are other things we're gonna do with it that we wouldn't go rent a machine for. I guess that's the best, is ditching, now with the town having 3 trucks, we can do ditching, sides of the road ditching, cleanup, stuff like that without having to hire any outside contractors. I think you haven't really had to hire anybody too much lately because,
No, I hired Rick the first year I was here one time for that East Pittsburgh Road. So it's East Pittsburgh Road culverts, and we haven't hired anybody since.
Just thinking if the cost of buying it is 10 years of rental, how long's the machine gonna last?
Yeah,
You gotta maintain it in the meantime and,
it'll be more to purchase it outright than 10 years of rental, but like I said, we're probably gonna do, number one, you're gonna be availability, you won't have to worry about availability of a rental machine. And the machines we're renting are historically smaller than this. They're for specific smaller jobs. This is a fairly good sized machine, 10-ton machine.
Mhm.
So it's a pretty good sized machine that would allow us to do more serious excavating if we need to.
what did you have on doing my farm thing?
Oh, that's a big deuce on. Yeah, it's 38,000.
All right.
But did I have my small one down there too? Whatever, my smaller excavator is the same size as the one the town is looking at.
I guess I'd want to know a couple of things. One, that, obviously the price. Two, that it was some kind of like a state bid process. So we comply. Thirdly, I want to know where we are with the highway budget, because I know we were over on salt. So I'd like those numbers as we're closing down, so we know what carryover realistically might look like.
So just as a quick, example of, these national cooperatives. When I was with the city, I bought a quick attached snow blower that goes on the front of a loader. Because the other one they had was an old Sicard. It was 1965/66 because it was 2 of them melded together to make it work. So I called the vendor and I said, I need a budget number that I can put in the budget. And he said 150,000. Okay, and I got that all approved. And then I got into a different cooperative that they were using. And when I called them up, I said, I'm ready to buy that snow blower. And I'm in Sourcewell now, and am I still looking at 150,000? He said, let me call you back. He called me the next day and he said 99,000 because it's in the national co-op. He's like, I sold one just a while ago in Iowa. I'm like, how did you sell one in Iowa? You're in Vermont, but it's part of this national cooperative that if you want to sell one for $150,000 in Vermont because they're the only game in town, but you still want to sell one in Iowa, you got to compete in Iowa. So it's just part of this national thing. So it's this big giant umbrella that everybody kind of climbs under. It's well worth.
Well, it sounds like
Yeah,
it would be.
It's great.
Okay, so those would be, and we don't have to make a decision tonight.
Right.
We had another issue of digging in the right of way without a permit. So,
Oh, yeah.
Which one was that?
By you.
That one I asked you about?
One.
Looks like a big project.
and we keep getting this, and the gentleman sent us a letter that was dated by 2002 bill that was sent to him by Kevin Brown that clearly states in the letter that you need a permit and to dig in the thing. You know, if it's an emergency, yes, the town will cut you some slack. And I wanted Bill to send him a letter and tell him to thank him for sending a letter that explains to us that you need a
Yeah.
permit. So,
Yeah, that we had no knowledge of.
Yeah.
And he brought this letter to light. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
so it's
That's
like,
handy.
I don't understand how this works, but anyway,
Apparently doesn't.
we need to either send these folks another letter, have Kevin draft it, or we got to do something. Because they're going up there and I think they dug across
They
the
went all
road,
the way
right?
across the street, yeah.
Yeah, they dug right across the road.
Yeah.
Again,
Oh, my
I
God.
don't know how they
Without
got
a permit.
traffic through there.
huh?
It looked like trench warfare from Killington Avenue, so I don't know how they got traffic through there unless
They
ran
were
everybody
quite
over
upset
somebody's lawn.
about the amount of traffic that's on that street that doesn't go anywhere,
Right,
from what I got from the
yeah,
residents.
yeah. So we need to, you know,
we also got to figure out. Cause I think Kevin's letter was talking about some state statutes and we got to figure out
Probably
how we
amended.
maybe, but
Yeah.
we also have to figure out how we can start finding these people. And
Yep.
like, this needs to cease and just like,
Go
they
away.
have to stop doing this.
you know, if there's, so
Period.
if their fire districts are all need to have a contact list and they have an emergency and they have Dave's, the town's cell number. And somebody's gonna answer that 24/7, 7 days a week, and they call and say, we've got this going on and this is what we need to do. And whoever answers that phone is going to tell them, okay, and we're gonna have a policy in place that says, this is what you gotta do. Okay?
We're not really we're just asking for some notification
Right,
mostly.
I mean, we're not gonna tell any fire district if they've got a broken pipe in the middle of the road, they can't fix it. But you gotta let us know.
Yeah.
We don't need a neighbor calling and saying, you know, they're digging up this road, and do you guys know about this? Cause this is the way
Or
we're
a select
finding
board
out.
member.
So there's nothing,
Yeah.
we don't have any,
We have nothing.
we have nothing. So we really do need a something.
I gave Dave a first draft of something tonight for him to
Okay,
use the red pen on and
okay.
make any
I thought
suggestions.
we
So
did that last time.
Huh?
Didn't we do something last time?
Well, we have a,
we sent a letter to all the fire districts saying, hey, just so you know, you need to get a permit to do this. And this particular, the other one sent back information like, here's our contact list. Thank you very much. But this fire district sent a letter back saying,
We don't have
we're
to.
gonna do it anyway.
and
Oh
and
my
I believe
God.
this is the same ones that said they had a blanket letter from the former road commissioner that said they can dig in the road anytime they want.
It's also the same
Yeah,
one that
which did
wants
not
to
exist.
cooperate on getting the water line run to their pump house because they have contamination. Like, I don't understand the motivation. So
Anyway,
Okay.
we don't have an ordinance, so.
So it sounds
we're
like
gonna-
we need
An
at
ordinance,
least a policy, if not a full ordinance, but
and we need
let's-
something that we can.
For now, there's got to be something state level that can get enacted.
Now, do you want me to contact Kevin about this? Or does Dave want to look over whatever?
talked about at the meeting and I took everything that was sent to me
Uh-huh.
and sent it to Kevin and said, here's our issue.
So he's already got it?
He hasn't acknowledged it yet, but he has seen it.
Well, you just gave it to him today, right?
I gave it to him Monday.
Okay.
So I said.
That would be
"Here's-
yesterday.
Yeah, we only had the meeting.
That was yesterday. So he has it. I haven't heard back from him yet.
Okay.
I didn't anticipate that type of turnaround, so.
Alrighty.
Until we get our own ordinance in place, we got to figure out,
There's gotta be something.
there's
in
got
the
to be
state.
some state statute.
That helps
we-
us.
Well,
we can
policy we can do in 2 weeks. Ordinance is gonna take longer.
Yeah.
So,
The state statute is on injuring a town highway. And that's that's where it comes back to, and I think that's the 1111.
Yeah, we just have to figure out.
There is statute on injuring a town highway, and there are penalties, but like with any of the ordinances, any of the stuff, the penalties is not what we're interested in.
No.
We just want
It's-
compliance.
It's the mechanism to force somebody to do it, but it's like, that's not what it's about. It's just tell us what's going on. It's just, I don't understand what the holdup is, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Usually stuff like that comes with show us your certificate of insurance and post a bond, you know?
Yes.
So,
So I did steal a similar ordinance from another town that had a lot of that stuff in it, so it was pretty good, so.
good.
Then we have an issue with Heather Lane. Because there's a Heather Lane in Rutland Town and a Heather Lane in Mendon, and there's been some problems with 911 stuff. So we discussed this. So we set a couple of criteria. Who had the name first and who's got the most residents? And it looks like we lose on both accounts.
Can we have like a tug of war at the townwide celebration?
yeah. Get all the residents there.
So I recommend,
We
got Kurt.
We're gonna want the name. So the Tyler from the state E911 has suggested the two select boards get together to talk about the topic. He's like,
yeah, we thought about maybe giving our residents, however many there are on Heather Lane, a heads up that this issue is coming. And let them know that probably within the next 6 months, could be a change.
We should ask them for ideas. for
Right, so
names.
that's what we
Since
we
we're
we have
in
about
discussed.
this.
8 residences. They have currently 15 with more plots subdivided to build on, so.
Yeah, so,
We
it's
don't
always
have
an
problem-
I don't
inconvenience,
get how they get mixed up because they're like 6-7 miles apart.
right? But I think they have the
It's
same
not
zip code,
post
right?
office. It's the same zip codes.
Oh.
it's the same-
Yeah, it's
Same
the
name, same zip
Not
code,
the
but
post
one's
office.
Mendon, one's Rutland Town.
It's the package delivery services.
Yeah, they're having a hard time.
Where is the Mendon one?
Mendon's all the way up off the end of Old Turnpike Road. You go all the way up there and take a left.
Wow, all right.
It's way up there.
But if it can be resolved peaceably.
We shouldn't go to war with Mendon.
No, well, I was thinking more of the 8 residents in
Oh,
the town. Mendon would be okay. I think we're gonna have more, we have these problems when folks don't like to change their names. They've lived there all their life.
Yeah,
And
I
now they're
know.
gonna be living somewhere else and
We
they're not
could
gonna know
have
how
a
to get
naming
home.
Contest at the townwide vote.
Yeah.
Actually,
Dunk
we
tank.
can.
Yeah, so anyway, we're there. We are being persistent with Robert to try to come up with some kind of a plan for Route 7 South repair on that sewer. That realistically should be done before it's winter again.
Yeah,
And we're gonna try to figure out that. The big discussion is how to persuade the state not to make us try to bore that 3 times before we can
Fail 3
open Digger
times.
Road. Huh?
fail.
Failed 3 times, yes. And Dave kind of modified Robert's original design because there was some common sense missing in the original design that we've kind of added to our own. It's like right straight across, no creeks, corners or whatever. And then the thought was if we could put a Rutland Town PD Fire Department sign at the corner of McKinley and Route 7 on the McKinley Avenue sign that's already there.
Okay.
I looked at that today. Would we be able to just put it right below?
I
That's
just
at the
want-
top and just put,
I just, police fire. psh,
yeah.
That's not public safety building.
No,
'cause
but
it's
it should
police
just,
fire.
but,
That's
and it
what
needs to
should-
be Rutland Town.
I just put police because the fire station's not manned. So
Then, but certainly police.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that's what
Rutland
people are
Town
looking
PD or
for.
something.
And it also points up to the state police pair.
So pick one.
I mean,
Yeah, which one?
Right, okay.
Which police? Don't
So-
say which police. hopefully they turn first and don't go and bother you.
But whatever, but I think if we just put it on the signpost, it's a double
Yeah,
post,
okay.
big sign, we could just put it right under it.
Yeah.
And
We have to get permission from anybody to do it?
I don't think so.
We're gonna
Well,
see if
well,
we get a letter
well-
like the south end of town.
the sign is already there.
That's true.
Yeah,
sign
the poor Cedar Avenue sign.
That's poor thing.
You're gonna have to encase that in cement.
Right there by Tommy's, or on the other end.
Yeah, on the Route 7 side.
Oh,
This brand new sign got taken out in 2 days.
Oh,
Yep, was there 3 days and it was gone.
yeah.
I got some pictures and it was
Oh,
sad.
So you said the Route
Sorry.
7 side?
It's a Cedar Avenue sign.
Well, on Route 7.
On Route
Okay.
7, yeah.
That's because cars are coming down the hill and passing the guy making the left-hand turn and go off the road and hit it?
I'm not sure how it happened.
Oh, I can guarantee
I
you that's
looked at
how
the
it happened.
skid marks and I can't figure out how they
Huh?
go there.
Yeah.
Somebody is turning left and the guy behind him thinks it's okay to pass in the breakdown lane,
Yep.
and they whip around him and they hit your sign and they keep going.
Oh, this one was quite the collision.
No, this was not a.
No,
Yeah, this was a smash up.
you had more help than just,
This is more involved.
because if you are
And the sign
at the
ended
foot
right
of
up,
post
right
road,
back in Gartner's bucket where it was the week before.
anyway,
All right.
so, we thought that would work for that. And then the other thing Dave brought up was, do we want to get started on, if we're thinking about a salt shed, should he start looking into the Act 250
Well,
process?
he just spent all your money.
Yeah, well, I don't know how long or how involved. I mean, if we get Act 250's blessing, we don't have to build it right off. The permits usually
That's
good for,
right.
permit
You
be
can.
good for how many years usually?
Is it, might be 10.
Yeah.
Are we gonna need fully engineered prints though for Act 250?
Well, find out
Yeah.
once we ask Dave.
And
Well,
you've
that's-
got, I mean, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
So, but it's an
And-
amendment to an existing,
Existing
so
permit.
some of it is going to be okay.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to
So-
get blueprints and whatnot drawn up.
And it's
before we-
going up at Northfield. I was looking at that. It's between the cold storage shed and your highway.
Yes,
Yep, that flat spot, semi-flat
Uh,
spot.
there is a flat spot. in-
Semi-flat spot.
Yeah.
there will be when the trees are gone.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, cause we're gonna,
You know, I'm back to, and we'll hear some more about it tomorrow night at the regional select board meeting. Is this something that we can go in with another town on and not do?
Somebody's gonna have to drive. And that's,
Yeah.
that's,
I mean, Mendon's already got one, and I don't know who else would.
West Rutland
Yeah,
just
West-
put a new one
close.
on.
and
West Rutland's
Pittsburgh's,
got a new one?
Yeah, and they just put a new one up.
and I
But you
think Pittsburgh
can't-
has one, don't they?
Yeah, but the issue is you can't separate the salt.
Yeah.
So then, unless you're buying salt together and then weighing it as it goes out, they keep
That-
track of whose salt is what, and
That
then you,
sounds fun.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then, and
and-
the other thing about it is, depending on where it's built, somebody's gonna have to drive to go get some.
That's right.
You know,
Well, I
salt.
mean, in our town, you have to drive anyway.
No, but if
That's
the
what-
salt shed is right there with the highway garage,
Yeah.
our guys pull the trucks out, go next door, load and leave. If we go in with another town, Mendon or the city or wherever, they're gonna have to leave, go get loaded and then come back.
Well,
But
it's not perfect, but what are we talking about?
we don't know.
500,000,
No,
a million?
no.
No. No, it won't be, the concrete, whatever they do for concrete work will be the most expensive. They use a fiber steel superstructure with a fiber top. That's what everybody's putting up.
the big
The problem with the existing one is why you can't load inside.
What's that?
What's the problem with the current one?
It's not big enough to hold a winter's worth of salt and they can't load inside.
it's still standing. It's not falling down.
Yeah, it's just that we need to upsize. And
It could be on a 5 to 10 year plan.
yeah, it's not like we're gonna build it this summer or next summer, but if we're gonna do it, we should get started. And this is just the initial thing to see what Act 250 is gonna require. And if they do require plans and drawings, then we can budget, say in next year's budget, in today's budget for designing of the building and work at.
Oh, they'll require, this is,
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
sure.
too big.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, we're gonna need plans. So at this
We're
point,
talking probably a 50 by 100 building.
yeah, and with storm, it's gonna have stormwater runoff and
Mhm.
stormwater permits and
Yes. So there's some stuff involved.
Yeah. Okay,
And I do believe that was the last of our meeting.
it's a good thing.
Honey.
Costs a lot of
You had a
money.
doctor's appointment. Phew.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We had to wrap it up early.
Yeah.
Did we get through half of it?
We got anything
Did
else?
we? Well, we went through the quick things.
Yeah. I mean,
There's a lot left.
So
on
the
agenda
biggest
that's not
thing
quick.
on the town's agenda right now is the south end sewer.
Yeah.
That is the most pressing thing that we have to get rectified.
Yeah, where's our service road at?
We have all the information. We got what we paid for.
Do we have it all?
Yep.
I haven't
So-
seen that yet.
Yeah. It's,
Guess then you
is it
come
an
over to
electronic
that.
form, Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah, those guys finished that. So we have all the information and then we
Guess I've
gotta,
not seen that yet.
we don't, we have these projects, but we haven't
Well, I mean,
figured
if
out a
you
way
look
to.
at action items that discuss priorities and projects for the coming year, there it is. I've had it on now for 3 meetings and we are,
Yeah, there's,
we all get so tired by the end of the meeting that we don't get to talk
there's
about this, but
so
this
many
is definitely one of
projects
them,
that
I think.
I don't
Yeah.
know where to start.
Sewer and service road, or sewer's not, that's a need. That has to get done, period.
That's at the
And
top
that
of the list.
really needs to get done by like June. Like, we really need to get moving on that. It's
I
a
mean-
matter of time before, yeah,
So I think it would warrant a phone
so,
call to Robert and tell him
yeah.
this is what the board decided.
Yeah, and like Bill said, he was
He
supposed to
was
be
gonna
here
be at the
last
meeting,
Friday.
but he
and
had
kid ended
a
up in the
family
hospital, so
situation, so he couldn't make our meeting,
but
but
I
he's well
think
aware of it.
I think he's at the point where, like I said, he sent me a couple conceptual drawings and I edited some stuff and sent it back and he was gonna incorporate that and get back and then this kid got sick, so.
We're trying to find out if there's
I
a,
think we're moving,
somewhere where the state has waived this 3 failed boring attempts.
They did it right up at Coal River Road when they did the stoplights. They dug that last summer.
The point that you made though about that test was designed for narrow roads, not this.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
And I think
ideally,
that's
yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
point.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
boring 250 feet or whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of
potential for it to go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
crap that can go on.
You can dig a hole on the other side and never find it.
I mean, there are a lot of very good boring companies out there, but still, there's a lot of unknowns between here and there.
Oh,
that's
Okay.
a long run, I mean, that's, yeah.
All right. So anything else for,
now that was enough.
yeah, it is enough.
I knew it was gonna take some time, but.
Okay. Thank you, Dave.
Well, thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Hopefully it's easier from here.
Yeah.
Be gentle.
All right. Town Police Chief Ed Dumas. Good evening. So what's the word? Did the Cortina pass the inspection? Okay, I'm guessing from the headlines in that they went to court, I'm guessing that perhaps they didn't pass completely for all of their rooms, but I don't know that.
No information, good information on that, probably.
No news is good news.
Yeah.
That's way before your time. Or that time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They're not renting rooms down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Wow. What a turnaround.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a big drop.
Which is good.
yeah. Okay,
Very good, actually.
I think I'll continue to have Lynn, do the stats, because then we can see if we got an issue.
Yeah.
Future.
okay. Hmm. All right. Other than the stats, what would you like to talk about?
We do have a bill, I need a police committee meeting at some point in time. We had a unexpected bill come up that we want to discuss. Wait for the board about our watch guard video. So. Rather hefty bill that we weren't expecting.
A happy Bill?
Hefty.
Not
I like
happy.
happy better.
Oh, it's
I
not.
like that a whole
It's
lot
not.
better.
The
Yeah.
only one happy ones are the ones you don't get.
Yeah, we did get the APIS machine in, but there's a problem with the Bill, help me out, what
IP address. Networking.
the network, where we have a dynamic,
Ted called me and said, nowhere along the process did anybody at any point say we needed this thing, and we don't have this thing, we have this thing. And changing from this to that is not simple.
Great.
So we have a dynamic, we need a static.
But that comes with its own problems because we have a very connected control system in the building for environmental controls, and changing the IP address for them may throw the whole thing off. We don't know yet. There's a lot we don't know, but we're working on it. But it's probably going to require us changing the way the internet comes into the building, which is just all,
For everything?
yes.
Really, everything.
It is all behind the scenes programming, all this stuff, but it's going to have a cascading effect on
Is it
environmental
worth
controls.
it? Can we send the machine back?
I guess we're gonna have to see what it's gonna cost.
Right.
That's the thing. We're kind of waiting on, we do just a static line. What's that gonna cost?
We have made the request. I
Right.
started talking to Consolidated. They have engineers that are starting to, they understand the issue. We're gonna come up with some options. We're gonna go for like best to worst case scenario and see what falls. If changing the IP address does not throw the whole control system for the environmental controls in the building into chaos, then that'll be better. But we don't know yet. It took,
Can you do just a separate connection just for this machine?
You got phone jack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plug it in.
not
Static IP address.
more expensive because that'd be an additional monthly fee to add another service. That's going to be one of the things we're going to discuss, though, is would it be worthwhile to have a connection only for this one? But their system is a little more complicated because they have their WatchGuard camera system, which had to have a 2 or 3 hours of programming done to get that online. They also have their security system, which so there's all sorts of things. This is the last thing in the door, and it's probably going to mess up everything before it.
It can't. I mean,
Well,
it just absolutely can't.
we
And
had
I
no-
would send the machine back before we screw up everything
That's
that's,
up to them.
sorry, but
It's just
So we're right now, we're just waiting to get some answers. We're not
Okay.
doing anything till.
Yeah.
We won't make a move until we check with you guys, let you know what's going on.
I've made the request to Consolidated for the information, and they're evaluating what we have and what can be done. They understand what we got to do. We're waiting to hear on. I asked today, they don't have an answer for me yet. So it's
That's because one is more secure, isn't it,
APHIS
Bill?
I'm sorry.
It's security, right?
Well, it's because APHIS needs to be able to communicate with this machine.
Yeah.
And if we use the configuration we have, they will until they can't, and then they can't anymore. And then it's not.
I'm
it's
with
not
Mary, send the
practical.
damn thing back.
So are all these things, is there a different product out there that solves this problem? Is it particular to this
I don't think
brand or whatever? Is it all the same problem?
It's all technical. Yeah, over my understanding anyways. And so we're just kind of, we're a wait and see. We're not set in stone on anything at this point in time. If it's impossible, it's impossible. If not, we'll make a decision with you folks and we'll figure it out.
When Ted called me, he was frustrated because
He put a lot of time in this, we should ask all the right questions. And, oh, by the way,
right. The installer couldn't get it to connect, and he couldn't figure out why until somebody's like, "Well, what's their static IP?" He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "What do you mean? We don't have one." The guy's like, "What do you mean you don't have one?" But we said we needed one, so it's a
God.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
so it does get technical in what they need to do, but regardless, we don't have exactly what they need. So I'm waiting to get scenarios from Consolidated on how this will affect it. And then once we get those answers, I got to get a hold of Total Control Vermont to see if we change this, if that's going to mess up their system. We need to talk to Royals. We're going to need to talk to WatchGuard. Like it affects all these vendors.
and how much?
Yeah. It's time and money.
I mean, the state police must have gone through this. They're just down the road. Or they had theirs for so long that everything got built around it instead of the other way around.
Right.
Probably. Probably.
I don't want to have a police committee meeting.
Why am I
We've
glad I'm
discussed
not on
it
the
pretty good.
police
We know all of what's the ups and downs right now.
Yeah, we're waiting now.
You know, I think it's a waiting game.
So was this the issue of you got another one that you need us
There's another
to,
one.
Another what?
the invoice that you weren't expecting? That's a different
That
one.
was with WatchGuard, had nothing to do with
Okay.
this. This was,
Okay.
so
So we
our
could,
research, we had a bill for 6,000, it came in at 8,000 and we're like, so we've been trying to get a hold of them, playing email game tennis back and forth, can't get a straight answer. It looks like we got a $6,000 bill. Apparently we got a $2,000 bill too, that we've been doing separately, but this time they put them together and we're like,
Oh.
what is this?
okay.
So it's kind of just
All right.
we just want to run them by you.
Yeah. Okay. We should probably
That's-
have, when do you think you'll have enough information about the APHIS system thing?
I'll let, when Bill finds
Like a
stack
Week?
line,
I'm waiting for Consolidate at this point to figure out what our options are and which one will like the most of the bad ones. So
Like may not be the word.
tolerate.
Yeah, that's probably better. Okay, so if we set a meeting for sometime next week,
Yeah.
maybe, okay. Maybe we'll have answers. Okay.
That's
And we thought personnel was bad.
Tell us something.
Any questions for our chief of police?
Any other growing pains?
not that I can think of off the top of my head.
I'll be there tomorrow at 1:30, 1:45 if you think of anything.
I should be there.
Okay.
We do have a issue on Friday. We got somebody drove through the town and their ex-boyfriend, husband chased them, and now they want two officers to drive up north an hour and 45 minutes to testify or not. And I'm like, really? They can have my police force.
WebEx. Have you
I
guys
told
testify
them.
by WebEx. You don't need to be in person.
That's what I told them, but
Oh.
I haven't got a response yet from them, so I don't want.
One of the good things. to
File
come
them
out
up.
of COVID, right?
Yeah,
One of the good
actually it
things that
did.
come out of COVID. You're able to do that.
I'll get in touch with that person, take care of that Friday, before Friday, tomorrow. That's all I have.
Nothing else?
I think we're good.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Okay. Mike Delehanty, Joe Denardo, Public Safety Building.
Okay, so, VMS is coming tomorrow to install the panel under the sink, the handicap panel. And that's what I was referring to when I talked to Ed. I'll be there for that. Other than that, we're just waiting till the things warm up and the contractors move back in and get going.
Okay,
They're talking after the middle of the month because I think everybody has that same thing after April 15th. If it snows, it's too bad it doesn't exist, but nobody really wants to get going too much till then.
can I put in a request again? I'm, to move the trash bins, which are right outside the main entrance to the building.
Yeah.
I think they look like.
Don't they usually, don't you guys usually put them inside afterwards at the fire department? No? They used to live indoors. Okay.
We lived indoors when it was just inside. So
Have you seen the
That's-
place are dirty?
I didn't do that at all.
Well, we could,
That is a chief level discussion.
you could put them around back behind the
Yeah,
corner, you know, around back. Yeah.
Back by the generator or something.
I'm especially thinking we've got an open house coming up and I mean, that's just, it looks like hell.
Well, they're not in front. They used to be in front of the building before, right on the corner, and you can see, at least now that, you gotta look for them now.
No, you stumble over them when you go in the.
No, but when you're
police-
driving by the building, you have to
Oh,
look for
oh,
them.
oh.
Before, they were on the east side, and when you come up McKinley Avenue, they were there, but we used to pull them inside at night when it was just one, but we could tuck them around back by the generator and they'd be fine.
Totes we're talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Toters.
I assume they're not bear proof.
Oh, no.
No,
So if you're leaving them out all night, right?
there's nothing in them that the bear would want. There's nothing to attract a bear.
No lunches going in there?
Really?
I had 3 bobcats in my yard.
Well, what are you feeding them?
I
Okay.
tell you, I looked out and I said, boy, that's an awful big cat. And then I said, that's no cat. And then it came around and then
It has no
Um,
tail.
the next thing I know, another one came around, and then a third one came up on my deck. And then I saw one go around my garage. So I went to the garage to shut the door, and the damn thing was in there.
They know you're a good kid,
She's-
Sharon.
she's-
They
she is
know there's
sweet.
gonna be something up there that's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
Well,
anyway,
So,
Okay, so we're in the middle of Joe's report.
yeah,
but anyway, that's where we are.
Okay.
Hopefully, like I said, as soon as the ground, probably by the time we meet again, things should be getting back to going up there. So we should be good.
Okay.
And I will be at the station tomorrow to let those guys in while they're installing that, because everybody else has a real job, so I can do it. Yeah, it's, self-employment has its
Oh,
advantages,
I know.
right? That's pretty
Um,
much it.
Flagpole. That's
Working
what-
on
Okay.
it. Yep.
Where's it going?
There's a spot out there somewhere. Supposedly there's conduit out there already for the light.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going out there
Wonder
somewhere.
where the job trailer was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Someplace where it'll have a great big bullseye on it. Or
see,
not.
there's another one under here. that you don't see.
Okay. John Paul Faignant, Health Officer, Second Constable. Barb, I'm sorry, Joe, I cut you
No,
off.
no,
Was there
no.
anything else or
No,
were
no,
you?
we're good. We're good.
Okay.
Yep.
Barbara Noyes Pulling, Town Planning Commission. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, hi. Good to see you. So we didn't, for the park, we did not get the recreational trails program grant.
Yeah.
So we're kind of back to square one there. I think some of the issues that were mentioned were, they were always concerned about it being in the 100-year floodplain. And a good portion of that parcel, even the part uphill from the river, is in that floodplain. And they were also concerned about ADA compliance. We had a trail leading out to the picnic area and the overlook that would have been ADA, but the one in the woods and certainly the one down to the fishing area would not have been. So we lacked that. And in hindsight, it probably didn't help that between our pre-application and the application, we reduced the number of linear feet of trails. And this being the recreational trails program grant, that probably didn't help us. So
I gotta say, I wasn't crushed when I saw that we were turned down, because frankly, there were so many more hoops that we would have had to jump through. And it was kind of an awkward fit. And we couldn't go down to the water's edge with the kayaks, which was the whole point. We were just trying to enhance what was already there. So I guess I wasn't, other than not having the money to do some stuff, I think we can, do what we want to do and we think will suit the town. So I'm frankly okay with it. Although I appreciate all of the work you and Mike put into it. It's too bad that didn't come out, but I wouldn't say we're back at square one. I mean, we have the land, it's in active use, and we can decide what we'll go back to. Maybe the planning commission can say, okay, give us a phase one planning commission, tell us what we can do this year, picnic tables and maybe the overlook. And we'll have Dave at the highway department, see if he can help out.
right. Okay. That sounds, that's a nice positive spin there.
Yeah, well, I was getting more and more irritated by all of the conditions and the tweaks that they were having us do, and it just wasn't fitting. It just wasn't a good fit, so
Yeah.
it's okay.
Okay, in other town planning commission business, dare I say there might be some light at the end of the tunnel that we can see for the subdivision ordinance or the rewriting of that. I mean, it's almost been wholesale. And a small committee of Bill, Dana Peterson and Norm Cohen been spending hours on this. Spending a lot of time even after getting some guidance from the town attorney. So we may be close to, having something that we can send back to the town attorney and to make sure that we're up to date and we understood all the instructions correctly on that. And
Okay, good.
yeah, right. And from the Regional Planning Commission, we received a draft MOU from the town for doing some MS4 measures that are required. They're like public education, public engagement and education, and outreach. So a couple developments on that. I can use some money that I have for other water quality work to do this. That money is available through the end of July. It may be available for the next fiscal year too. So we can most likely take care of at least some of my time that way. But that is contingent on the city being on board with this. So, treating this as a joint project, we're meeting these measures, we have to do the same things for both of the permits. So, the Regional Planning Commission would like some assurance that the city is on board with this. So any thoughts you have on that? I think it'd be.
Yeah, I guess,
from the
is this just the educational component, which is a matter of, getting flyers out telling people not to dump used fuel oil and, into the waters?
Yep,
Isn't that what it is?
that's about it, right?
Okay, so why do we need the city on board with it? Why can't we just distribute the information or print up a bunch of whatever, have some at townwide celebration and have some at the library, in the city? And isn't that what it is? And then I sort of remember doing this one time before.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem terribly complicated, and it just put gave the public some education on what not to do. And it didn't, I'm not sure we need a whole MOU with the city to do this, but I could be wrong.
Then the money I was referring to that would pay for my time would not be applicable because it would, that's based on a joint effort. And I don't know, maybe Bill can answer this. I'm not sure where this joint idea came from. I think it's a good idea. But I don't know if Andres suggested it, Bill, or
Okay.
So Andres is planning to attend the next board meeting. We need to talk about an MS4 project. And he was going to discuss this topic at the next meeting.
Okay. So who's our city counterparts over there who work on,
This
public works, water,
this
sewer?
stuff.
Yeah. We could ask Billy. We'll ask Billy at Rotary.
Ted Gillum.
He's here at Public Works.
Oh, okay. Well, there it is.
So
We gave out Bill Gillum, we gave out dictionaries together at Rutland Intermediate School earlier this week. Or last week, I don't know when the hell it was.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't want to cut you out of funding, Barbara. So if it's a simple matter of just a joint effort to publicize, we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about an area that's, you're talking about a joint area. It's a small area that falls under the MS4. So it does make some sense. Yeah, what I was referring to with funding is, I could use funding that I have at the Regional Planning Commission. If that's not possible, if a joint effort is not possible, then we go back to, you know, probably the town funding my time. So it would have been some savings there.
Okay.
We also had some interest from the new manager of the Rutland, the NRCD of the new Nancy McGuire. Yeah. So
Yeah.
she would love to help out with this.
Okay,
And
great.
so her time may have to be compensated at some point.
Okay.
By the-
She and I spoke with her because I ordered some shrubs, but I'm also going to be helping at the transfer station for the tree and shrub pickup. Not the transfer station, I'm sorry, the highway garage. So, yeah, I've talked with her and she seems to be really, open to doing stuff like this. So good. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I guess tell us what we need to do next. And if it's visiting with somebody in the city like Billy Gillum, we can do that.
It would be. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to hear from Andre and then make a plan.
I think so. So we listen to Andre's next meeting and then we have a plan. Is to go see Billy.
You asking me? I can't tell.
I guess so. Dave's box keeps lighting up as if he wants to say something. Dave, do you want to weigh in on this? No.
Driving home.
Okay. All right. Well, tell us next steps. All right. And we know we've got to publicize it. All right. Barbara? Yeah. Okay. You are there. I thought for a minute you'd frozen.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
So, yeah, okay. So, we'll meet with Andres first and then we'll decide the plan of action.
Yes, please.
Okay, got it. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. Thanks to Bill and Dana and Norm for working on that subdivision thing. That's
Very thankless work, very thankless.
yes, we know something of that on the personnel manual. Yes, we do. Okay, anything else for Town Planning Commission Chair Barbara Noyes Pulling? Nope. Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
Barbara.
Thank you. See you
All
later.
right. Take care. Is Larry on? Okay. Sharon's going to talk with him anyway. Marcia Chioffi? Chris Clark.
Chris is not going to attend the meeting, but I talked to him earlier
Okay.
and he said that the antennas, overhead door has been there and installed the antennas on the three smaller doors along that side for the remote
Good.
to open the
Good,
doors.
good.
So
Okay.
I think that stuff, and that was pretty much what he had.
Okay. Kari Clark, Town Clerk and Treasurer.
Hi. Really, I don't have anything tonight. Just kind of listening and wondering if anybody has any questions. There's nothing important at the moment, going on as far as anything that I need to remind people about. The hot topic that I still don't have any answers on yet, because no one higher up has any answers yet either, is the executive order that Trump signed for elections. So that's been in the newspaper and it was on the news tonight too. So it's kind of up in the air. Does sound pretty intense. They have a lawsuit. I say they, Montpelier has a lawsuit against it, but they're not sure. They don't have any answers either. As far as the timing, I think what is going to happen, in my opinion, is our offices are going to get bombarded with things prior to any knowledge of or change of any executive order. So we just have to be prepared. We already are getting people calling for different things so that they can go and get their enhanced driver's license,
Yeah.
yeah, all of that. So it's a pretty scary thing for us. So I don't have any answers, but that's the hot topic right now.
There's only apparently about 40,000 licenses left in the state that aren't enhanced.
So I
So
looked at that
everybody
today.
has to find.
Yeah,
go.
mine's enhanced.
All you need is the little star, right?
I don't know how it hasn't.
No.
How everybody
Yeah.
hasn't got transit.
More than that?
People just don't.
It's been a thing since 2002.
Well, I've had an enhanced license
Been
for,
an enhanced license for sheets.
Real ID.
6.
Yeah, the real ID.
Yeah, I've had that for like 6 years.
well, I've got my passport, so.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, I mean, that's where I think this
Well, I
executive
wouldn't be
order.
traveling too far.
Yeah.
And this, so the
You-
new
you
one,
might
the ones
get a-
there, when you get your license done,
Yeah.
you don't get it from the state of Vermont anymore.
Oh,
It goes
Where do you
to
get it?
some other company makes these. At least with my CDL. So I got it
Okay.
renewed last year. And you go in and you get it and they give you a piece of paper and that's your license. And then this comes in the mail and a neat little foil wrapper so
Yeah.
nobody can get the information that's off from
yeah,
it.
okay.
Yeah, it's like your little tinfoil hat you're supposed to wear.
I
So,
wish you
but
hadn't put that image in my mind. Yeah,
But
So,
mine's-
I've got the enhanced. So Kari, the executive order relates to federal elections. So the state stuff, the town stuff that we do, and the state stuff shouldn't be affected, but people will be confused about it. I agree. It's going to be
Oh, yeah.
kind of a mess.
It's gonna be
People aren't gonna be registered and they're gonna be contacting Kari to figure out whether they're legitimately registered to vote in a federal election.
It's gonna be a nightmare. I'm gonna give you an example from today, just because I think it puts in perspective some of the problems that are going to arise. I got a call today from this lady, and she was older. I could just tell by her voice. She lives in New York. She needed to contact me because she doesn't have a real ID or a enhanced driver's license. She needed to get her birth certificate. Well, usually that's a pretty easy question to answer, except for the fact that she said she's immobile. She doesn't have a computer. I just wanted to put this example out there because they're already starting to get a little nervous about their ID, which understandably so, but there are people out there that are not going to be able to easily get these items so that they can vote in the state of Vermont, or you know what? And it's all states, isn't it? So,
Well,
Federal election.
yeah,
scary. Even-
yeah. So
I don't
it's
even
just-
know if the real ID or whatever it is that we have, a enhanced driver's license, if that qualifies to prove your citizenship for purposes of registration, that still, I think, might require that everybody re-register because
I
who
agree.
knows what's provided when the only way you'd be able to certify that the election rolls were valid is if everybody comes back with the appropriate
It's crazy.
ID. So it's going to
Yeah.
be every.
And
Mhm.
you would have to have some kind of a device to read the information off from that license.
It's going to be
Not a physical, it's not a physical looking license because we had a problem with the bank. And when you go to the bank, they ask you for your driver's license for an ID and they look at it. You can there are people out there that can make a license look just like yours and mine, but they are not an official ID. So the information's encoded into that license. So how is Kari, somebody comes in with a fake ID that looks just like a real one.
Yeah.
And this is, the banks told me this, that they've had this issue. So despite all of these efforts, there's always a way around it.
Oh,
So
sure.
get this. Did you read that the clerks, like me, will be criminally prosecuted if we
Well.
even make a mistake on those things. I can't
Yeah.
even believe that. Like, this is kind of a little scary in a way.
Right. So basically, just nobody's gonna. I mean, you're not gonna do that. I mean, you probably quit before.
I mean,
The thing,
that's
I mean,
awful.
so.
You mean
so
you
the-
don't want a room at the Gray Bar Motel, huh?
Well,
Well, that's-
no.
You guys made me sign one of those 2 weeks ago. You weren't gonna come. Yes, you did.
No, we just certified that the building was,
And I read the part that says I'm criminally liable and.
if you were, well, if the building had no windows and doors and those guys weren't moved in, yeah, then you, yeah, but we wouldn't do that to you.
Oops.
Anyways,
Kurt's laughing over there, Mary.
so Carrie, does this
Yeah.
do our driver's licenses work for this, or do we all have to get passports? Which
I don't believe our driver's license works for this. We were kind of reading all the little
I
pinpoints.
sort of
There's
had the
so many.
impression they were trying to push everybody to get a passport.
Yes, me
Wait.
too.
We were just down there last week with our kids to get theirs renewed. That's I don't
It's
know.
a process. It's
By the time you
huge.
get to the front of the line, it's a good half-hour process working with the person at the window when we already had a lot of the stuff done and
Yeah.
ready, and the cost hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a major obstacle if that's what it comes out to.
It's going to be, and I feel bad because for voters who should have the right to vote, they're actually going to have to jump through hoops to vote now. It
Well, I
feels
think
like
that's why
I've been trying
that's
to,
why there are some, the attorneys general around the country who are challenging that.
Right.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
traditionally, voter registration has been left to the states to decide. Because, we do, but,
Yeah.
all right.
I'll keep you updated as I hear, but
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a BCA meeting coming up with you.
we do on the 21st. Property owner has asked us to consider abating her taxes. So the warning is up. It's I believe it's 10 o'clock on that day.
Okay. Yeah,
21st.
Yes.
21st, that's a
Monday the
Wednesday? No. I'm
I believe
looking
it's a
for-
Monday.
Monday,
think.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. I can make it, I do believe.
That's great. I do want to put it out there that we're, even though we have 12 JPs, which are the BCA members elected, a lot of them aren't available at certain points. So whomever can make it that's invited to that meeting would be great. Just because I'm sure we have to make a motion of some sort.
And Carrie, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
all I
Anything
have.
else for, Carrie Clark, our town clerk and treasurer.
good, thanks, Carrie.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too. Bill Sweet, town administrator.
Good evening.
Hey, Bill.
All right. So a few things to go over still. In your green folder there, the originals are the policies that we've been talking about over the past few meetings, with all of the changes incorporated. So there's the purchasing policy, the
Signed.
meeting policy, and the public record policy.
Signed.
Perfect.
Public records inspection, copying, transmission policy signed,
Outstanding.
and balanced budget policy signed.
Wonderful.
Carrie does need to sign it, but
Yes.
you'll make sure she does.
And so
We signed the town of Mendon
perfect.
letter
Me
too. Okay,
We're doing well.
okay.
So you had mentioned we wanted to separate the ballot language from the purchasing policy, and and then those fee schedules. So those are kind of like reference documents, I guess, for those policies. Where would you like those to?
Okay, so I want the schedule of our ballot votes
Yep.
should be a sheet punched and put in our policy book,
Okay.
because then we'll be able to find it
No separate tab, like a
instead
separate
of
tab for
having
it?
to think about,
Sure.
oh,
So
it's attached to one of our policies. So separate, please.
like
for that.
separate tab for it?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. And then the fee schedule.
The fee schedule is, I think it's okay attached to the copying and public records one. Because, and we're not the ones who would be dealing with it so much as, you know, the police admin, Kari, you.
Right.
When you're asked to do public records requests. So I think that's okay there, but the ballot votes, I think, should be a separate standalone so we can find it.
Okay, no problem.
Yep.
We can do that. All right, so thank you for taking care of all those. The only other thing in your packet is a sewer allocation request. This is for, used to be Vermont National Bank. Now it's been a few different things, but it's MJC Property Services, Route 4 East. They're occupying the building, using it, and they're producing wastewater. So they have a very small allocation request. They'll need to come before you guys.
Is this at the entrance to
Home Depot.
Home Depot
Home
Plaza.
Depot?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
It was the bank, and then it was a barbecue place.
It was
for a little bit.
barbecue,
Barbecue
yeah.
place. It's been
Yeah.
Wasn't it
it's been a few things.
it was like a secondhand shop.
Yeah, it was for
Yeah,
a
it was
while.
a
Yeah.
secondhand shop. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a
All right,
So-
moved to
That
approve.
doesn't seem like a whole lot.
motion's been made to approve.
It doesn't seem like enough. That's my point.
That's based upon the usage from the last year. So,
And it was
You were in
unoccupied,
there?
well, he said he's one bathroom in there, so that's all he uses.
right, and normally that's 2.5 gallons
It's
per flush, so this is like 3 flushes a day. It
And
doesn't,
washing his hands.
to me, it doesn't like,
I don't think he even occupies it most of the time.
anyway, but I'm okay with that. I'd move to approve.
Motion's, I think, okay, somewhere between
yeah.
you moved and seconded.
Whatever, whichever way it
further
reflects.
However you
discussion?
wanna do it, yep.
Whichever way it reflects in the minutes.
Okay,
perfect.
all in favor of the allocation, please say aye.
I,
Aye. 5-0, it carries.
Thank you.
And it goes in
Um,
the folder.
Yep.
Oh, do I need, does anybody?
There's nothing to
need-
sign. No, it's just the vote to approve it. That's all you
Okay.
need to do. So, 2 grant topics. We found out Monday morning, Ted called me that we got a grant for almost everything we wanted, which is fine, for the Emergency Operations Center technology.
Oh, good.
The screen, all that stuff. There's a couple things we got to clarify. So we have a conditional approval. We're waiting for the grant agreement, and then we'll be able to move forward with that. Later on that day, we got an email that we were missing an audit report, and all of our grant funding was suspended.
Okay,
We got to the bottom of that, and paperwork has been resubmitted, and we should be back in compliance now. There was not, we said we needed something we didn't need. So the paperwork was corrected to say we don't need it. So thereby fixing the
is
error.
this the audit lady you and I had the?
No.
Oh,
This-
okay.
This is there was a
Separate
report.
catastrophe.
There was some reporting that asked if we needed a single audit during this
Oh,
fiscal year.
yeah,
And a box was checked, said we did, but we didn't. So it stopped it. So
we did it last
should
fiscal
be,
year.
it should be corrected. So we'll follow up and make sure that we're all set, but that should be all set. So that means we can hopefully move forward with this other grant. So that,
And
but
who's
that,
in charge of following up with that? Because we don't want to let that one slide.
so the email came to me, but the report was submitted by Kari, so I'm not sure who's, I can do it. I mean, it's fine. I'll
Well,
go
we
back.
just need to make sure.
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
make sure.
so yes, please do it.
No problem. So then when we get the conditional grant, when we get the grant agreement for that stuff, we'll get it to you guys, then we can actually move forward with getting
Okay.
the things for the room. But that's very good. We're very happy about that.
Yeah,
I got an email from property owner who lives to the west of the public safety building, asking if we would contribute to building a privacy fence because now the new offices face their backyard. And he asked who would talk about that. And I said, come talk to the board. And I did not get a follow-up from him. I thought he was gonna be here tonight, so I don't know. But that request was made, but that'll be worthy of discussion at some
right,
point.
well,
I
if
can
and,
add a little bit of information to that.
Yeah.
Generally, somebody went to the state police barracks, somebody, one of our local people who's has some mental health issues. They pointed, they didn't get it, they just put them on the box. After we were there. Went around their building and then saw a police car next door and went there and knocked on that door.
oh,
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
and a privacy fence isn't gonna fix that.
Sign will that says Rutland Town PD.
Yeah.
And as soon as
Okay,
we
we're
get,
working on it.
right, well, it's-
We could get Chuck a sign that says not Rutland Town PD.
I think that's just what's missing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All
But
right,
we can get the, I think, once the paving is done, which a month from now, maybe 5, 6 weeks, all of these things will go away. Because you don't want to go putting signposts up and then they gotta work around that stuff. So just get it done, designated handicap spot, get the finish coat, get everything done and then it should be somewhere out on, I think on a separate post right there within our right of way.
Dave had
We
some-
own the road,
Dave has some concepts for it, so.
right?
okay,
yeah.
good.
The sign has been ordered. I'm trying to get it, make sure that it's in and up and everything before the open house, but
Yes,
the sign-
please.
Yep, the sign it's in the works.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you, Dave.
Perfect.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dave.
Dave, is that will that be two-sided? So if you're
Yes.
coming east, western McKinley?
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
And I have it placed to go behind the telephone pole so that it doesn't block view coming out of in either direction.
Perfect. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Been working on our disaster recovery plan. I had a very good meeting with the technology side of SimQuest. This is something they do offer. They have a backup and storage system that could allow us to back up essentially every hour. It gives us a whole layer up to an hour. It adds several layers of things that we don't have the ability to do on our own. So they are working. I had a good conversation, pretty in depth with them recently. So I'm going to get some more information from them on how what this would mean to us, mainly for what it's going to cost. This is all sounds great, but what's it going to cost? And so they're going to drop a proposal and come back to me with that. But that's a big aspect of what we want to do. So in terms of Andrew's guidelines, we said over the years that we need to have this. We need to have a plan and a policy, and this would go a long way toward helping us in a variety of scenarios. So more to come. The Stubbins Electric has been doing the work downstairs. Didn't get it all done last week. They've got a couple more days. They're going to still work here. I did ask the project manager. I showed him our electric vehicle chargers down there. He's like, "Ooh, those are nice ones." So he's going to ask around and see if anybody's in the market and let us know kind of what his thoughts are on it. But he said that we bought some good ones. So
good.
Yeah.
We should get rid of some good ones.
That means we paid a lot of money for them.
I know.
So
They were
Andres is
Tied
coming.
to something else.
One to come. He's going to come to the next meeting. Our Windmere development, we have an MS4 permit that they've been working on redesigning. That needs to be upgraded. That system needs to be upgraded. They are nearing the end of the design, so he's got to come to us and talk about what the next steps are going to be, which is basically going to be construction. So he said there should be some grants for that too, but we're working through that. But he's going to come, and then we're going to talk about the MOU for the public outreach. The public outreach is something that we have been saying we're doing.
We did once.
We did once.
Yeah.
Yes, we have, but there's some continuing things we need to do. So he's going to be part of that conversation so we can kind of get back to where we're fully on board with that. So, but he may actually.
We've got some events coming up where we could distribute that,
Yes.
like the open house, at the
Absolutely.
public safety building, and
Absolutely.
townwide celebrations.
Yep.
So we could do.
We
and
have
seniors meet monthly, so we could distribute because who knows what they dump down manholes. I don't know. So,
We have made a lot of, I've added a lot of stuff to the website. They give me a lot of data, so a lot of resources I've added there, which does help with that too. So we can point to that, say, here's what we've got. So we are doing some things, but there's some things we have to meet the guidelines, and that's the thing. Along the lines of the lady we met with, Beth from the state. I mean, I've copied you on the emails too. Like I'm keep giving her more information, and I think we're getting there.
yeah. Well,
But-
thanks for sending her the new revised purchasing policy.
Yes,
That should have helped.
That should help. So she's particular, but we're
Yeah.
I think we're almost in agreement. So it's okay. We got a letter from the state. Remember when we had the issue with Northwood Pool that was broken into,
Yes.
vandalized on? We have been awarded restitution.
Good.
So
So the Vermont Center for Crime Victim Services.
So as they get paid, we will get paid. It's
Oh, right. I know.
$928, but
Yeah.
but it's less than our deductible would have been. So we
So they recoup it from the perpetrator at
Yes.
the court,
Yes.
and then that's paid to them
paid to us.
and to us through them. So, hey,
So
okay,
Mike was here earlier and we signed the documents and
great.
we'll be good to go. So we'll get that in.
Yeah.
The VLCT has a safety grant out. I've had that paperwork out, been given to department heads, been 6 or 8 weeks, no, 8 or 12 weeks now. So I've got couple things from departments that they're looking for, but I haven't really any other feedback. So I want to send that in because it is a Well Supplies last grant. So,
So
Buy new guns with
no.
that.
Yeah, with a safety grant.
fingerprint
Yeah,
machine.
it's safety. It doesn't shoot you in the kneecap.
It's designed to, it's for meaning to reduce claims. So I guess there could be an
Okay.
idea.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Imagine the workers' comp claim on that one.
Perfect. Yeah.
If you want to write me the justification, I'm more than happy to send it along. We can give it a try.
I'm sure they could.
Dave has put in
Pretty
for
well.
some confined space equipment so they can do manhole inspections in the manholes and stuff and some other stuff. So so that's largely what it's going to be. So this year's a 50% match again. So
Okay.
but that'll be good for him to be able to get that.
Yep.
You have on your desks the final draft from Teresa, the personnel policy, which after I printed it all, I realized that and nowhere on it does it say personnel policy.
It needs
Anywhere.
to, so you need to switch out the cover.
So this is her draft. I can't
So
edit
I
her
would
document,
do-
so
Just approved up here,
okay.
because I think that's the date we voted it.
I think
February.
so.
And then,
Yep.
we've got Town of Rutland seal, so public, what do we call it? Personnel?
Policy, yeah. So
Handbook.
that's how she sent it to me. So
Okay.
I didn't want to make any changes to it because she's very protective of that document. So I wanted
Okay.
to make sure you saw it before I do anything to it.
So a document like this, does this have a signature page that goes with it?
Well, that's part of what,
That's the only thing I'm asking,
yes,
because I saw some stuff once that I was looking at that there were no select board signatures on.
oh, you want a signature? Yeah, okay, I don't have any
I'm just wondering
problem.
if, for us,
Why don't
when
we
it-
do,
I'm just curious.
So,
and-
so in 10 years, somebody looks at it and says, "What a-hole signed this thing?" Yeah.
Well, I
so
don't, you
how
know,
about if we do right inside before the index, inside the front cover, and just put a place for adopted and we'll all sign it. So
That's fine. Like,
I
I
mean,
mean,
not one
there's
signature
ordinances
either.
Come
to
on.
sign.
when I went, so
Two signatures.
Teresa, Teresa created this, and again, I didn't want to make I wasn't gonna make any changes to it without talking with you guys if you wanted to do that. But like the policies you have that I gave you, I add that section to the end of it, the adoption and signature section. I add that to all of them, so there is that, and then I keep those in a separate folder, and then everybody else gets a copy of them. So
Yeah, Teresa thought we should have a letter saying, welcome to employment with the town of Rutland, and it was like, we just wanted to get the thing done. Right, so, right.
Who's gonna
And
read
then
that?
you'll recall maybe when we did the last one, that there was a signature page for the employee to sign. And that's part of the question that we have for you folks. Do we remember? And then there were some, I think most of the police department refused to sign it. And I'm pretty sure I didn't sign it because I was, so what do you want to do to show, I mean, we can tell the employees this now, governs your employment, and we can tell all the department heads, make sure your employees each get a copy, and we can have Bill distribute copies to everyone. But do we want to have them sign and set up I'm not going to agree to that kind of situation?
I don't think it's worth it.
I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
That's
I
the
think we-
document, and that's what you gotta follow. And if you're not gonna
And this
follow
is
it,
for-
You're gonna be working for somebody else.
yeah, like
The
Pretty
thing is,
simple.
we should
Yeah.
have a new employee packet.
And Kari
So
and
this
I
is what
talked
you
about
get
that. Yeah.
When your son joined, he gets this thing and he gets a copy of this and a few other pertinent information like and when you joined.
Mhm.
Right? You're smiling. Why are you
No.
smiling?
Because we have virtually every class of employment
Yeah.
that you could think of. And that made their job much harder because there was I remember there was a lot of discussion about who this specifically applies
Twice.
to.
That's
And
right.
there's people that does and people that doesn't, and how you parse that out. So
Yeah.
absolutely, we have the highway department is largely hourly. They're hired employees. They should all have but these are things that we've grown in some ways, and some we just haven't always kept up with that. So there's absolutely value in that, 100%. And it's just, but yes, I agree. Like
Could be,
new employees, there's
when you hire a new
stuff,
police
like-
officer, they get
Yeah.
something specific to PD. New
Right.
someone, they get whatever it is. I mean, we only really have three employee places,
Mhm.
highway, police, and the town office.
Correct.
You know, the fire department, because of I don't know if they have to abide by this because they're not technically employees.
Well,
yeah, they
They're-
are.
Well, they are and they
There-
aren't.
They
there
collect a
are-
paycheck
there-
now.
and we,
It's an
well,
hourly-
yes, so there are parts in there that we specifically put in for
Right.
them, the comp time policy and some of the others.
Yeah.
So
But-
yes, they very much are covered by this.
They collect the pay as soon as
But
we
we're
went to pay
also
them out,
acutely aware that they
employees
have
now.
separate licensing.
It's so, there's
In a
so many
different place,
variables
so,
in a town. It's not like going to work for
Yeah.
any,
A normal place.
a normal place. Yeah, because towns are not normal.
No.
By any stretch. No, government is not. There's so many rules because when you have full-time elected town employees, it like really
Yeah, I
muddies the
know.
water.
It does. So this does not apply to elected folks.
Right.
And that's another whole question about whether we do something that says just briefly, if you're an elected official, most of this doesn't apply except for. So, and that,
I think that's a discussion for, we've covered
It's for the personnel committee.
we've covered the most important aspects of
I think we have.
I think we've got 9, 10 maybe employees that fit this. Am I right? It's about 10,
That's
A little
about it.
bit more than that.
Oh,
The whole police department,
5,
highway department,
4.
Mike,
Oh yeah, Mike now and you.
Deb,
Deb?
Susan.
Yeah, Deb,
No,
Susan.
well, all right, yeah, they're
Marcia.
not.
Hired.
Okay, so
They're
there's,
our
okay.
employees.
Yeah.
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 No,
Deb
there's,
is-
But
that's
but
perfect.
everybody else is elected.
Yeah,
yeah.
So we're up to 13.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's
14.
fair number of people. It's a small business. I mean,
It's
it's
small
a,
business. Confusing small business.
All right.
All right.
so there you have it.
Okay.
Well-
Matt, did you want to, because you and I talked a little bit about personnel and this very handbook issue. Did I hit the stuff that we still need to?
Yeah, well, and we're working on Joe's question about should we do anything different with salaried employee overtime?
No,
That's another work in progress. But
Okay.
and a lot of this is.
One thing that I wanted to make sure we hit this time is under action items A, discuss priorities and projects for the coming year. So,
Then sewer project.
yeah, South End Sewer Project,
That's at the top.
the service road and the salt shed. I have for you folks.
Yeah, the salt shed probably isn't real critical, but in the service road, I wish we have 3 road projects in town that we would like to do. The project on North Grove Street, Simons Avenue, and the South End Road. And I just don't know how we're gonna fund those.
Yeah.
they're all projects that could benefit the town. They all will benefit the town in some way. Locally, Grove Street and Simons Avenue for the local residents and, safety.
What is it on Grove Street? Refresh my
That
memory.
crown there at the
Oh, the
Verdant
crown.
Crown.
Okay.
We went after it once, thought we had it pretty good, but the line of sight still, now that you have a functioning business there that has a lot of traffic, they're seeing some concerns. So, that's one. The speed was Simons Avenue. And I know that there were projects done in town. 1984, I want to say, the end of Grove Street where we border with the city. A whole lot of work was done there. And at the time I was working for the contractor that did it, running my dump truck, but I don't know who paid for that. And I don't know how, I don't know how that project came to be, and I don't know why they did it. And so I don't know how we would find that out, because, you're talking 41-year-old records. They did the intersection of Grove Street and McKinley Avenue. For those of us old enough, that used to be a Y there. When you came up McKinley Avenue, there was a short culvert in the middle. And they changed that to the intersection it is now. And for those of us that used to respond to McKinley Avenue Fire Station, it was very difficult because you used to take the one Y that was your way, but now you have to come and make a whole different, after about 10 years of driving one way. So anyway, but I don't know who funded these things, and these were safety improvements. And did the state do that or whatever? And this is what I'm wondering. These ones we wanted, at least the Simons Avenue and Grove Street, they would, to me, would fall into that same category. I have no idea why they did that lower section of Grove Street, put in curves, drop inlets and drains.
When we were talking with the guy from V-Trans, he was great. And he's like, fully support your project. We'll help you sign off on everything and you're paying for it.
Yeah. Well, the thing with me with Simons Avenue, this is directly related to the state's tendency toward wanting intersections with those major roads to be Ts.
Yeah.
Which they asked us to do with East Pittsford Road and Route 7.
Yeah.
And some other places. And we are willing to do this because that's a slip lane, which they don't like. They don't like that type of, so I'm wondering why they wouldn't ante up some funds here to help.
Or why that wasn't brought up when they repaved the road.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting because Route 3 in Pittsford and Cornhill Road,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Mhm.
They repaved Route 3 as the state did, but they made no change to that intersection. So their policy of the T'd intersections, which are safer.
Yep.
They don't follow. So
we're gonna probably bring him back here because it's the same guy that's gonna be for the Green Mountain Plaza entrance, the sewer connection, as if for that. So we can bring him in and we can just start.
And I would like that.
Nailing him.
Wind him and dine him a little bit.
Well, maybe they can go back into some of these archives.
Yeah.
And we can figure out why those are two projects on Grove Street.
Yep.
That I do not believe the town funded solely. I can't see Rutland Town going out and spending the kind of money that was spent on that south end to have J.A. McDonald come down there, drill, blast, and work there for an entire summer. I have no idea.
Curb and under drain and all
Right,
that.
I mean, it was a ton of work.
Maybe we could ask Dave if he can,
He might, or we can, there's gotta be some history
yeah.
as to why it
I was
was
trying to
done.
think of the block grants were before then. They were like the mid to late 70s.
I don't know, maybe there was a lot of state money just floating around and they had to spend it. I don't even know how the town got on the radar. I wasn't involved with the town government back then, so I don't, but I know they did it.
Okay,
The-
so we've got,
The service road I'd like to see
okay,
moved up to a shovel ready project with bid specs. So we can kind of have documents ready to go. And that way, if a business ever wants to build down there, we can say, hey, we want to build this road to this spec, help us out on this. And we'll do some cost sharing on having your contractor build us a road. You know, so if we have everything in place for that, at
Let's-
least we'll be.
There was some talk a few years ago about some monies out there for these shovel-ready
Yeah,
projects.
that's how we got the sidewalk going up to Adele Stanley Apartments.
And I haven't seen that, and that's why I pushed for us to get, VHB? To get
Yes.
VHB to come back in and finish the work that we curtailed
Yeah.
prematurely. So it was good to get that done. So now I think that's where we are at the next step. I think.
Yeah,
And we haven't, I mean, that kind of ties in with what we haven't done, which is the slip lane for truck traffic. And we sort of said, no, we're not going to do that. We'd rather do the service road.
Right. So if we can get,
But something
Is
needs to happen down there. Yeah,
I'm down on Ranberry Road all the time for
Yeah.
different things, and it needs to be done.
yeah.
at least a
It needs to
connection
happen.
to Aldi's.
It needs to
That
happen.
first section. Harbor Freight, because
Very
when
good.
they came in, they were very good about
Mhm.
adjusting their building on their lot to
Make
allow
sure-
us to be able to leave room for that road.
Yeah.
And then there was a solar project going that.
Yeah, the guy that owns the land, the guy that owns that land,
Yeah.
he'd come in and talked about it. I said, actually, we're really moving on this. He's like, okay, good to know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he paused his plans,
Okay.
Yeah.
anticipation of this.
I'd like to see what, like again, how much that from Aldi's to Ranberry would cost that first leg. That's the least expensive portion of this. The most going from Ranberry to Farrell Road is going to be a little trickier. And then how we get out of there, we still haven't figured out.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
but
I think if that connection was made, the truck traffic would go to Aldi's and they would never go back to Farrell.
No,
They would-
yeah.
well, no,
exactly.
they would, that truck traffic, but part of this, what Mary's talking, that slip lane was specifically for Farrell's.
Right.
Yeah.
And we need that connection from Farrell Road to Ranberry, and that goes
Right.
kind of through there's a small section of
Oh.
wetland and some other stuff
Yeah.
in there. But the water main has already been done.
Yeah.
We don't need to run a water main with the road. What we need is 22 feet of pavement.
Yeah.
And we don't need curbs and sidewalks. I think the first project came in with that complete streets
Yes.
format, which is wicked expensive.
Mm.
But if you
Thorough.
could get the road done, you can add a sidewalk, or we could do some of this other stuff.
Yep.
But
We
we
have
need the
to,
pavement.
we have to look at our infrastructure down there too, because there's a sewer line in that area that needs to get upgraded.
Yeah.
And the time to do it may be to run it instead of going cross lots, bring it right down the side of our road
Mhm.
and tie it back into the city, come down and back down Ranberry.
Yeah.
So there's some things that need to get looked at as a big picture and
Yeah. One infrastructure project.
yeah,
So
and
that's
keep moving forward. with it.
Highway. Matt,
Water.
water.
And
Um,
again, is there some help out there
And I mean,
for these fire districts?
Yeah,
Is there
water,
some
fire
help somewhere that,
districts.
I'm hoping there'll be some federal infrastructure funds coming at some point.
Oh, Lordy.
But
well, if
Don't start holding your breath.
if those are
they
things,
came last time. There was big infrastructure funding out there. Huge.
um,
Okay, so,
things that maybe the town could apply for
Well,
to help these fire
yeah.
districts.
I think we should
Maybe it'd be
have a-
through a town.
we gotta have a conversation with the city, because I think they may already know some of what they can guide us on, like where we could go looking at what needs to be done, but that's where I would start.
okay,
And, in your case too, Matt, up there, the fire districts might have to start talking to each other about, we're all in the same boat here. It's all got the same holes, so we need how to,
mhm.
Yeah,
Keep
well, I
us
know
afloat.
my folks are planning to come when Hitzel people are here, so whenever
I've
that's
not heard
happening.
anything back on that yet from that
Okay.
engineer, so.
Rec, is it, and this is the usual, is it time to start talking about pool replacement or getting engineering or doing preliminary, site work or whatever?
Well, I think Mike has been working on some of that, Mary, and, he's starting to, he asked for that increase and we gave it to him. And he's hoping that he can hold off the old pool till we get enough money so that the taxes aren't,
Yeah,
and we've done a lot of big projects lately.
yes, we have.
So they resurfaced the pool and it was 250,000 to resurface. He doesn't want to have to do that again, and I agree with him with that. We do have cracks that keep opening up. But his idea, and I think it's a good one, is that if I mean, initially the school wanted to sell us the property that we sold to them for $1. And that's a little much in my craw, I'll tell you. I mean, we're all taxpayers. It's, but to put the pool up above and with the fill that comes out, fill in the old pool, and then you've got your dog park.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, we were moving towards figuring out that land, wherever that historical land transaction was, and how to acquire that property back.
Get it all under one umbrella.
Yeah,
All right.
we were working towards that, and
Yeah.
kind of got busy on some other stuff.
Oh,
Right.
just a tad. Yeah, it's gonna take. And this is one I was gonna dive in and do a title search and look at some of it isn't just what's in the deed, because deeds all recite for $1 and other valuable considerations. So
right.
you have to pull
Putting- that might not be a
minutes
bad
of the school and minutes of
Better
the
location.
select board.
Exactly.
Okay,
Well, I think the theory there was that was going to be where the high school would be built.
yes,
Yeah,
that was,
So,
yeah, it was the old Union High School.
yeah.
Actually,
Okay,
that was just gonna be our own.
At first,
police
Then
and
they went back
fire?
around for Union the second. and
no
third time.
vehicles needed
Nothing-
for a bit.
nothing for them.
They won't-
No,
Grandmother and Freddie.
no building needed for a bit, so maybe nothing on
Half the
those.
cost and have one fit.
Highway just went through their list.
Yep.
The other, I mean, I would like to do something with the pocket park, but I think we can do it in-house with the resources that we have and with volunteers. That's kind of what I want to finish our sidewalks. I want to do something about the walkway, the school to Northwood. I mean, we've got all of the pieces. We just haven't put the whole thing together. JP's sidewalk is underway, so
Which day, Bill?
April 17th.
17th?
Yep. We have the conceptual plans. So
Okay.
we're getting all the people together.
97 pages.
It's big.
really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I opened one and I'm thinking I gotta figure a better way to do this.
Um,
97 pages. I don't know why it can't, nothing is simple. It's like, you're getting a owner's manual for a small farm,
Yeah,
but
Okay.
we're making progress.
What else do we have out there? That,
I think for this year, that's probably.
I mean, this is, yeah, I'm not gonna get them
I
all.
mean, downstairs is. in
Oh,
the
yeah,
works,
town
But,
hall.
but the
downstairs.
downstairs is a work in progress. And some of these other projects are going to kind of trump that.
I think we gotta get one of these bonds paid off, or we
I think, I agree.
get another one.
yeah.
Right.
I forget what set it up,
Downstairs,
but-
I'd like to figure out some way to figure out a way to, I don't know how yet, put money aside for that project, either through the capital improvement fund or something and see where we actually come out here. Everything we've done, all the upgrades, all are necessary, but we're at that point where we're in, and that's the construction. That can't
Yeah.
be done piecemeal. So unfortunately, we all know that the cost is gonna go up each year, but
I got lucky. Maybe we'll do something with that side exit, maybe as a separate small project.
we can look at that, see if that could be done without compromising the rest of it.
Yeah, maybe that might be
But
one little other thing we can chew off.
Transfer station, anything needed there?
well, we gotta come up with a bathroom.
Bathroom.
That's that.
I'm waiting to see my engineer friends again.
We'll go chase down some new ones.
Yeah,
All right,
That's Robert told
is there anything you want to take off the list?
let's get
Oh.
one thing done first.
I don't know, all we need
Well-
to do is put a bathroom in
Holding tank.
a holding tank. And does that meet state approval?
I don't,
Where's
what
the-
did we, succession planning,
Must be
we've
the
kind of
apartment.
dealt with as we've gone along.
Right.
For example,
like-
we've gotten Kari
Once
some
twice a
additional
year.
help, so she's got backup folks. We've got Dave in as a road commissioner rather than an elected position. I don't know, rooftops, pardon?
We have a full police
We do, yeah. Rooftop solar arrays.
I think we've kind of walked away from
The
it.
bloom is off that rose, I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Service road is there, town hall monument. Oh, yeah.
That's a town project.
that
Well, there's
is
a group
town-
working on that.
There's a
There's
group,
there's a group on that.
There
Yeah,
is a
that's
group,
Marty
but
and his
they,
deck.
they need a,
Charnock and people, yeah.
So the town hall crosswalk, Billy, we talked about those signs and lights.
Yeah.
All right. What's our next step there?
Thanks for them.
Northwood Park Trail System is
Yeah, it
done.
was like 10 or 12,000.
Right, and
It's the
he's,
connection
Depends-
school to
it depends.
Northwood that isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the quote we have is not gonna be any good anymore, so I'd have to get a new one, but
Right. I mean, we talked about the lights out here for the crosswalk.
Seems like a lot of freaking money.
it went on the list because we didn't have,
It's for
we're in favor of it, just not how to pay for it, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Gonna keep
in
an
another
eye out
month,
for
we
a
can
grant
take
at some
the
point.
public safety building off.
Yeah.
Once the finishing
JP
touches.
sidewalks on
That's
dilapidated
another 4.5
buildings.
years on that.
We have the ordinance, but we don't have anyone out there. I mean, JP was doing it and then we were kind of hoping our first constable would take over and we
Well, we
made
gotta
some
maybe push them a little bit, give them some.
Yeah. Okay.
The park trail system where
The interior stuff is done. So we did the mountain biking, there's the walking path.
the
Now
shared,
all we need to do is connect Northwood to the post road sidewalk. That's
The,
the part that's missing.
the,
What's the shared use?
Mary.
I think that's the shared use,
I
isn't
think
it?
you can take
Yeah.
the park.
the shared use path is the one that starts off the end there.
Off by the baseball field and comes down
Will-
to
will-
Susanna.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it
so
goes out around. So that, I don't know where we are with that, if that's
we should
done,
ask Dave.
but,
Hey, Dave, are you still on?
Sure am.
Okay, so where are we with the shared use path that goes from the ball fields down to Chisana?
I'd say we're probably maybe half done. We
Oh.
started in off the Chesana side last year and then we were kind of working on it and we got snowed out. We were doing all right because we didn't have any snow in November and we kept working on it. We got the path kind of down over the bank. We had that big giant fill we had to do there. So we're almost down to the, I'm not sure if it's a path or a work road or whatever, where the water mains come
Yeah.
down the hill. We're almost to
Okay.
there. And then we just got to kind of do some fill and some gravel and make the loop-de-loops there to get in. And we came down from the park, the park side, and we had that other big fill where we come over to the same path where the water mains come down through. So we just got to kind of connect the dots in the middle. We got to put a drainage structure in. So we're probably half. I'll say conservatively half done. We're almost there.
Well, okay.
If we had an
All right.
excavator, we could be working on it now.
I knew you were gonna say that. I absolutely knew
But
you
it
were gonna
is-
say that.
But that is part of why
I
we're
know.
going this route. If you have a machine of your own, you don't have to go rent it for a
Yeah.
week. You can just, it's there. The materials from the grindings, Dave, off the pave on the highways, are you allowed to use any of that for your fills and some of your stuff along that path? Or is that
We've been just using like some of the sandy fill from down over behind where the brush pile is. We've just been using kind of that sandy fill to fill in. I don't really want to use, the wrap for that stuff. And then the plans that we got from Otter Creek called for, I forget now, I'd have to look at it again, 1.5 or 3/4 gravel, for a top. So that's what we've been
Okay.
using.
Okay.
But if we have a conversation with Robert, I don't know that we couldn't transition over to wrap and use that. That stuff sets up like concrete.
What
I don't want to.
What I was
I
wondering,
just don't like that.
well, it'd be like paved.
Uh,
And it would be hard and nice. Only reason I'm wondering, Dave, if it would be
Nice.
worth, having somebody come in with a portable machine crusher and run that through to unify it and make it more uniform, and then you could use it for your top. And it would be a really, once that sets, it makes a really good really good road structure.
Yeah, the only problem with that is if it gets a little wonky, you'd
Yeah.
almost have to fill it in because it does get so hard. Like with the gravel, you could just, Mike could just go out there in the spring and run a York rake over it and
Yeah.
kind of tune it back
Just
up
a
with its
thought.
gravel.
Just a thought,
Yeah.
trying to
No,
save us some money.
Yeah, no, I thought about that. I'm just afraid that it gets, sometimes if it gets just the right amount of water and just the right amount of sun, it sets up and it's like, I've seen where paving contractors have had to regrind the road because they put that in just to try to take some of the ugly off of a reclaimed road, and they have to come back and reclaim it again because it gets so hard they can't grade it.
Okay. Sharon, did that answer your question? Anything else you can think of up around Northwood?
No, I know Mike is looking at other paths. He's looking at, now that he's full-time, that in the winter he'll have an area for sliding.
That's right.
He'll
Okay.
have another area for snowshoeing.
Okay.
I think he takes that whole place personal.
Yeah.
So,
So do we leave Northwood Park Trail System up there? Because he's.
I don't
working
think
on
we
it.
have to. I think
Okay.
it's already,
done. Okay.
Yeah,
But-
something's gonna be done. Mike will be after it.
All right. So we can take off rooftop solar arrays.
you want to put Mike in punishment pit, take away his lawnmower and then,
Well, I did. I figured that one out.
yeah.
All right. So is that kind of sets the stage for stuff that we might want to be ready to address, money and funding permitting?
Yeah, and we've got to be careful. People,
Yeah, we're just,
Well, we're
people
gonna
are
have
worried. I
a rough
mean,
couple-
money's
rough next
short
few years.
for everybody.
we are,
Two bonds are gonna come together.
yeah,
They're gonna be tough.
we're going to overlap for about 6 or 7
Who knows
years.
what's gonna happen with education?
Oh,
What?
Oh my
Education
God.
funding.
system. It's all up in the
Yeah.
air.
The variables we have absolutely no control over.
What's scary is,
and I
Pay for
think we don't have, on the town side, we don't rely
Grandson is-
much on federal funding.
stick, and they're taking.
Other than for big projects like we've been
No.
talking about
Road
from
or-
highway,
Yeah.
that's probably funded by the feds to the state.
Yeah. And last go around, there
Not
was a
nice,
lot of
but-
that coming through.
Yes,
There was a lot of infrastructure money that was coming through.
There was.
From the feds back then.
yep.
So we're hoping to see that again.
Well, hell, we got ARPA and that's what we built the
Yep.
public safety building with.
Yeah, before that, there was structure. There was a lot of
Yes.
money in
When's
structures
the
and
open
bridges. And
house
I made a lot of money off
for the
some of that
17.
projects.
I don't,
The what?
I'm hoping there's money for new construction
17?
and not fixing, just fixing, upgrading it, fixing.
Yeah.
It's,
It'd be
what's
nice
that,
if some-
11, it's,
There's supposed to be. I mean, like the Route 7 project, that was all in Pittsford. That was all
Thanks,
federal
Bill.
funding that came through the state. And it tailed off into the other administration because it took so long to get that money passed down. But there was a lot of that type of project going on back then.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Okay. Well, this was good. So we kind of know what we're headed for. Okay. Anything else? I think I don't have an executive session. We've done everything else. Matt.
Just, Chief, are you aware that you're on here on this list for providing feedback on the alarm ordinance?
On the what?
The alarm ordinance? I know we talked about
Yeah.
that somewhere sometime.
Like I said, I haven't.
Okay.
You're on the list.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
I think go forward with me.
Okay.
Get some Heath bars when I get my ordinance back.
What's that?
You get some Heath bars when I get my ordinance back.
Yeah.
And I have not heard back from Andrew on the,
You won't.
the county, I know. So
Yeah. No.
that's why he's got.
That's why we said May 1st
pushed-
or
we pushed
later.
him out.
Yeah.
So I have two more relatively quick things. The Otter Creek Communication District is looking for their appointment form to be signed.
Yeah.
And Danielle and Andrew by
Yes.
extension were amenable to being reappointed. So if you are Okay with
I'm
that.
waiting to hear, and I haven't seen the circle, remember?
We have the digital version is out.
Okay.
It's on the website. It's on, I
All right,
got out there,
let's,
but the
let's
paper
give
one.
it another till our next meeting.
Sure.
And give people a chance to read the circle and say, oh, they need volunteers in these positions and apply.
Yep.
It's kind of what I wanted to
No
do.
problem. So I'll have that for next time. The last thing, I got an email from Stephanie today. The regional plan is reaching the end of its, they're gonna need some feedback from individual towns.
Okay.
They want to come and talk with you about Act 1A1, some regional land use, the regional plan. They are asking for a separate meeting. They would like August 29th at 6 o'clock for probably 60 to 90 minutes.
I thought we were there was something on their schedule that they were going to do some training with towns who wanted to participate on changes to Act 250 and those things. This is not that.
No.
Wait a minute. What was the date?
August 29th,
At what time?
6 p.m. I'm sorry, April 29th.
Oh, April. I was gonna say that's
Oh.
a Friday.
April 29th. Sorry.
No, something.
I was gonna say,
My
August,
four
we
looks
got
like,
a lot
my
of
four looks
time.
like an 8.
What day of the week is that?
You ain't gonna get me to come in on Friday
It's
night,
Tuesday.
period.
It's
Party
an
time.
off week meeting. It's an off meeting schedule meeting on a Tuesday night.
I can
Can we,
shoehorn. that
that's
in.
the date they gave?
Yes,
What are they talking to us about?
April
the
20.
regional plan. It's
Ugh.
yeah,
How does that affect us?
it does.
It does. I'm sure it does.
A major if we ever had a major project in town again,
Yeah.
we would need the regional plan to
Right.
allow us to do it.
Town
What's the
plan.
date? 19?
Does that
April
like building a
29th.
road fit in
Build
that?
a service road slide in there.
Might. I guess that's questions we
But
can
the,
ask.
the land,
Maybe
Act
we can-
181, the land use is a big part of it.
Maybe we can twist our arm for some money. Maybe they know some pots of money out there that we don't.
Okay. Okay, so
29th at
6 o'clock
They can
is
plan through it.
Yes.
Rutland
They can
Regional.
plan for it through the regional plan. They can plan to get us some money.
So we're all okay meeting with them?
I guess.
We have to warn it.
Yes.
For an hour and a half.
Yep.
Right.
Anybody want to go to the regional select board meeting tomorrow night?
I would if I didn't have a pile of broken stuff in my yard that needs to get fixed. I'm off.
Okay. All right.
That
Is
is
that it?
everything I have.
All right. Anybody else got anything?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
That's what I got.
We'll let Sharon take the second on that one. All right. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.